Hey guys, welcome in. Happy Friday, Rob Kendall Show. Thanks so much for joining us. We got a gajillion things to get to. Let's get right to it. We hate to say we told you so, but we told you so. And what I'm talking about here, by the way, here in just a little bit, we have to get into this column that I wrote in the Indy Star today, in which I tried to, and this is go back to, and we'll get into this more here in a little bit, the corners that we have just boxed ourselves into as a society. Like so many people, especially people who are prominent, are influential, see themselves as prominent or influential, want to be prominent or influential on social media, where their whole thing now is I'm in this corner, you're in that corner, and I can not only can I never come out of my corner, I can't even let anybody see me peeking about what might be going on somewhere else. And what I'm talking about with redistricting is the narrative from the Trump and Turning Point people is it was a total referendum on redistricting. And as a logical person who hates both sides equally, I looked at that and said, and we talked about this the last couple days. Yeah, redistricting brought Trump, which brought money, and it brought resources. Now, one thing that's interesting you're starting to see, and again, we'll dive into this a little bit more later, you're starting to see the outside, because this was all outside money for the most part. You're starting to see the outside money admit what we'd been talking about for a while. This wasn't about Indiana. It wasn't about better public policy for Indiana. It was about sending a message to other states so they would redistrict. I said the entire time, even back to the old radio show, stop listening to these people. You're being used. They're using Indiana for their own benefit. And I have said, if you look at what's going on in Washington, there's nothing that the Republicans are doing that makes me want to be a part of that. The spending, the government growth, the ill-begotten wars, the gas prices, nothing. Borders a little better. That's about it. So I'm not going to let my state be used for someone else's game to bully other states into rigging maps to try to save power for high-profile, powerful people, donors, lobbyists, really rich people. And now you are starting to see admissions by some of the money people, and they're doing it publicly on Twitter, that this is sending a message to these other states. It isn't going to change Indiana, but look at these other states that are bingo. Everything I was telling you guys throughout the whole redistricting process. This isn't about us. This isn't about a better Indiana. This isn't about better public policy. You're not going to see Turning Point bros and all of these people, Trump people, come swooping in next year for property taxes. What's the one thing you've seen them talk about? Scott Pressler, the SAVE Act. Why? Because Trump wants it. I'll be back next year for the SAVE Act. We already have voter ID in the state. There is what? They did this massive statewide investigation and they were able to get one guy. One guy got arrested in a state of 7 million people. We don't have voter fraud in our state because we have voter ID, which is great. We don't need anything else. Now, look, if you want to have some nationwide thing that matches Indiana, I'm okay with that. We've talked about it. I'm fine with that. If you want to say nationally, you have to have a valid ID to vote, great. No problem. But that's not an issue here. It's not an issue here. But they can't give it up, right? There's always got to be the next level of grievance, the next level of subserviency to Trump. And so you're hearing them talk about the SAVE Act. Okay, great. Talk about it in places that don't have voter ID. We do. Well, you know what I want to talk about here? Property taxes. Because I actually give a damn about my neighbors and I live here. You know what I want to talk about? Utility bills. Because I actually give a damn about my neighbors and I live here. You know what I want to talk about? Corruption at the IEDC. Billions of dollars of our money going to rich, powerful, connected people. Not benefiting us. Bringing in foreign workers, by the way. That's what I want to talk about. So they're admitting now what we have said for months, which is Indiana's a pawn in a game. It's not about better public policy. You're not going to see these people next year in mass rallying the troops, getting better public policy. You're not going to see it. It was about trying to bully and intimidate other states into doing what they want to hang on to the House of Representatives. So I wrote an article in the Star, and this is like I said, look, I have decided now my lane is common sense. And that is the future. I was watching a documentary on Moses last night, and, you know, he flees Egypt, and he's wandering around, and I'm like, that is me. For the record, I'm not in any way comparing myself to the actual good deeds and doings of Moses. But I was watching him, and he's like, you know, obviously then Moses becomes dependent upon the kindness of strangers. A strange man in a strange land, right? And that's me. I'm like walking in the wilderness going, my gosh, the left is run by complete crazy people, and now the all Trump all the time orbit is giving them a run for their money. It has nothing to do with not being for Trump. I want Trump to succeed. I want our country to succeed. I want Trump to do well. But it is bizarre that we can't look at things and go, this is very obvious what happened here, or this is obvious what's happening here. I should have the ability to say that. It shouldn't be some controversial thing. It was obvious to me from the get-go, Indiana was being used to help powerful, rich people in Washington hang on to power. And I'm not just talking about politicians. I'm talking about the donors and lobbyists that control them, and the special interests, and the political class, and the consultants. They're admitting it now. So I wrote an article in which I said, okay, there were three, and we'll go into more detail in a little bit, but there were three races that it appeared the Trump and Turning Point people wanted the most. And that was Travis Holdman in Northeast Indiana, Spencer Deary in Lafayette, and Greg Good in Terre Haute. And again, the reasons for those are different. We'll go into them in a little bit. But those are the three. And Nikki Kelly kind of backed me up yesterday on that. Holdman, Deary, Good were the three big ones. And all three of those elections, even though all three of those guys voted against redistricting, all three of those guys got very different results, very different outcomes. If the vote on Tuesday was some statewide outrage or referendum on redistricting, the results would not have been as different as they were. And so in this IndyStar article, I walked through why each one of those people who all voted against redistricting, who the Trump and Turning Point people all wanted for various reasons, and we'll go into those later, personal reasons, why the results were so different. And people are now just outraged over that. That I had the audacity to say, hey, redistricting brought Trump, which was money and resources. But I think it's pretty obvious based on how these three guys, who were all essentially public enemy number one for various reasons, which we'll talk about later, they all got different results because they're all different people and they all have different backgrounds and different circumstances in their district. And as usual, it's just pure outrage from people who will not read past a headline. And if we can't get people to, like, if you're going to judge something without even reading it, like, I challenge anybody to read that Indy Star article that I wrote today, because I tried to be very fair with it. I tried to look at these three and say, okay, they all did the same thing. They were all at a ton of money spent against them. Why were the results different? But we can't even get people to do that anymore. Why? Because the talking point is, the Trump Turning Point talking point is, it was redistricting. And if you say anything else, you're a traitor. You got TDS. Well, that's not how we operate here. And again, there ain't no program director to harass anymore. There ain't no general manager to harass anymore. There's no president to harass anymore. There's no owner. Unless y'all know the guy who runs YouTube. If you got that sort of sway, I'm in big trouble. Yeah. And yeah, don't come to producer Jason. So we'll get into that in a little bit. But let's talk about the other thing that I've been trying to say as it relates to these Trump endorsements. And again, I'm trying to be as specific as I possibly can. I have voted for Trump 3 times. I want Trump to do well. At 40 plus years old, I'm way past being a fanboy of anyone, though, that controls my existence. I just don't cheer for politicians anymore. I've been burned too many times. Too many times I've heard all the right stuff, and then they do the exact opposite. And it is bizarre to see grown-ass men fanboying over politicians. You know, for years we talked about the guys who wear the other people's names on the back of their back, like on the jerseys. I feel that way about politicians, too. It's very bizarre at this point. Like, we have to stop worshiping these people. We have to stop cheerleading for these people. We have to stop the premise that these people are infallible and everything they say is awesome. And if you dare object to it, well, you're the bad guy. Like, we are squashing in this country free thought. No, I'm certainly not a guy that's like, you know, like the left does, screams out, Trump's a this and Trump's a that and blah, 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 you know, Nazis. Like, that's all ridiculous. It's all ridiculous. We still have free speech in this country within reason, with guardrails. We still have the ability to vote for who you want to vote for, campaign for who you want to campaign for, say, again, within the confines of the law, not threatening people or, you know, whatever you want. Like, Trump's not any of that. But what we are seeing inside the and this is a Republican Party as a collective thing, not just with Trump. And it didn't used to be this way. Believe it or not, especially when I was an elected person and I was just as mouthy and as a big a pain in the butt then as I am now, just without the platform. But when I was an elected person, it was the same way I am now. And I was welcomed at Republican events. There was never any doubt, like, should Rob be here? I used to get invited to these things. And the Republican Party used to be a very welcoming, free thought sort of place. Now, whether it's the party or Trump, anytime you question anything, they cut you off. They try to take you out. They try to cut you down. Look, I'm not as familiar with the Democrat Party because I'm not a Democrat. But obviously we've seen the Democrats and their attacks on free speech, on freedoms and liberties as well when they're in power. So it's not like they're some harbor of individual liberty either. But one of the things people got very mad at me during the primaries is I said, these Trump endorsements should mean nothing to you because he doesn't know these people. Like, an endorsement should matter if you know the person, if the person in doing the endorsing knows the person and can give you reasons specifically about them that weren't a talking point handed to them on a piece of paper. Trump didn't know any of these people. He couldn't even get Brenda Wilson's office right, the lady who ran in Terre Haute, who lost to Greg Good, which we'll tell you in our piece in Indy Star why she lost, if you're actually interested. How did she lose if it was all about redistricting? She not only lost, she got smoked. Well, how could that be? If it was all about redistricting, how could that be? How is Spencer Deary, as of right now, still winning his reelection? And so he said, if you're going to vote based on Trump's endorsement, understand you're voting based on just complete subserviency to Trump. Because they're not redoing redistricting. Most people, if they're really honest with themselves, know what sort of Republican Indiana puts forward. They know what sort of Republican we were going to get in those two districts, if indeed you got them. It was going to be the Jefferson Shreve, Jennifer Ruth Green, Aaron Houchin, Jim Baird type of Republican. Look, if you just want to say it out loud, just own it, right? It's like the meme of the guy holding the person's eyes open. Just look at it and say it. I'm completely subservient to Trump. I want to do whatever Trump wants. That's okay. You can vote that way. That's fine. It's your right. You're able to do whatever you want to do. Because we still are a free country, for the most part. There are some rules, which I'm learning now that I'm not on a terrestrial radio platform. You always got to look at whatever the rules are. Always got to be very careful. Whatever platform you're on, what are the rules? Like, I spent, all those years on the radio, and so I knew, hey, as long as I don't say these words, I'm going to be okay. Now on other people's platforms, you got to abide by their rules. But the point was, I said, do not take the Trump endorsement as though he knows anything about the people he's endorsing or their voting records, because he's endorsing a bunch of idiots. And two of the specific idiots that we laid out that he's endorsing, because they voted for redistricting, not because they like Trump, but because they were calculated and unprincipled enough to recognize, well, this will probably save me in the primary. Like, if we're actually being honest with who the most, I don't even know what the word is, but the most honest, the most forthright people are the people who voted against redistricting. Because they probably knew when they cast those votes, I'm going to get a primary challenger if I do this. They should have. And they voted. Jean Leisig was asked about it yesterday. And she said, I'm not changing my mind. She goes, I did what I thought my constituents wanted. I still think that's what they want. That's what I did. And she made a good point. Jean Leisig is a Republican Indiana state senator. She said, because she was asked, are you going to change now? Or is the caucus going to change now that these senators won? And she said, if bomb threats and swatting didn't stop us, why do you think a couple of elections would? And I thought, well, that's interesting. But two of the biggest idiots that Trump endorsed were Ron Alting in Lafayette and Liz Brown in Fort Wayne. And I said at the time, and I've said ever since, I knew this was a big joke when he endorsed those two, because those two, Alting and Liz Brown, have been two of the biggest hindrances to what Trump's base wants. Super libs, in the case of Liz Brown, held up two items near and dear to Trump's base: constitutional carry, and then immigration enforcement. By the way, did you guys see, we're going to talk about Rokita here in a little bit because he's a ridiculous clown. Did you see Rokita called her something like a witch who rides around on a broom? Did you guys see this? Like, geez. There's certain parts of Rokita that are endearing. Very few, but there are some. But I knew this before, but it's like when he's endorsing them, these people are awful. They've been horrible to our state. They've cast horrible votes. Ron Alting is by far the most liberal Republican in the Indiana Senate. Think Todd Young on steroids. And he's pretty brazen about it. Ron Alting is more liberal than a lot of Democrats in the Senate. And Trump endorsed him. Why? Because Ron Alting made a calculated decision. I'm going to have Richard Bagsby running against me. He's going to get a lot of support from the right. I got to figure out a way to cut into that. I'll just vote against redistricting to get Trump's endorsement. Alting, I guarantee Ron Alting was against redistricting. I guarantee he didn't want it. And I was saying this the entire time. But we still had the radio show. I was like, don't listen to this idiot. He's using you. And Trump is enabling it. Like, no offense, but Ron Alting is infinitely worse than Spencer Deary or Greg Good. Not saying I'm a super fan of either of those guys. I'm saying if we're going to put the voting record up there, Ron Alting is infinitely worse than either of those two guys. In terms of the harm he's done to our state. Spencer Deary is actually very conservative. Socially extremely conservative, extremely pro-life. Didn't anger any conservative and voted against the property tax bill. His great sin was he was supported and was mentored by Mitch Daniels. That's it. And he voted against redistricting. So I knew when Trump started endorsing people like Ron Alting, okay, this is a big joke. We're done here. It's over. This means nothing. And a bunch of bad people are going to get reelected because of these endorsements. And so fast forward to yesterday. What were 2 days past? Numerous media outlets reporting this, by the way. Ron Alting got asked about his vote on redistricting after winning re-election, and here's what he said. Quote, I feel terrible that I let some people down on my vote on redistricting. Not thanks to the president, not, man, I'm so glad I made that vote, not that was the ironclad most amazing thing I ever did. I'm so glad I did that. Quote, I feel terrible that I let some people down on my vote on redistricting. Oh, it gets better. Now, remember, to the Turning Point bros and their buddies, Posobiec, Cernovich, Rob Kendall's the bad guy. Remember that, right? They didn't go after Ron Alting on Twitter, who has time and time again screwed conservatives and the Trump movement over and over and over. They went after me because I had the audacity to say Trump doesn't know who he's endorsing. He's endorsing clowns, and the Turning Point people are propping it up, and they're going to make it worse. So we're hammering this home. If you know a Turning Point bro, or Posobiec, or Cernovich, or any of the rest of these people, ask them about this. Quote, I feel terrible that I let some people down on my vote on redistricting. I hope that I'll be able to make it up to them. I hope I'll be able to make it up to them. Translation, I lied out of my ass and Trump bought the bait. Trump took the hook. Now that I'm reelected, I can tell you exactly what I want to tell you. So go ahead, guys, and put one more tally in the no column for redistricting in 2028. He just said it. He lied to everyone. And it was obvious to everyone other than Trump, who endorses and governs on revenge. Ron Alting is awful. Awful. And now he's going to get 4 more years in the Indiana Senate thanks to Trump. Thanks to Trump. Then he crapped all over the Trump endorsement. He got asked about the impact that the Trump endorsement had. Quote, I still think that it's the candidates. I think it's the horses that's running. What I mean by the candidate is you got to produce, you got to deliver results for your constituents. No credit to Trump whatsoever. He's running so far away from that endorsement. Jesse Owens would be like, slow down. But I'm the problem here for pointing out that when Trump endorsed people like Ron Alting, he was enabling bad people to continue governance. He was giving a free pass to someone who has time and again harmed Hoosiers with his voting record. And by the way, Ron Alting said here what I and others have said. It was not about redistricting. Because it wasn't. Redistricting brought money. Redistricting brought attention. It brought resources. But the votes themselves were cast on people being upset over the governance that they were getting in the Indiana General Assembly the past 6-7 years. And we're going to lose the ability to stop a lot of that, change a lot of that, because these people got elected without agendas, without mandates. Redistricting is not coming back this year. And now you've got at least one more no vote for 2028. Well done, guys. Well done. Hey, it is Friday. That means Friday, Saturday. If you're looking for something different to eat, check out our friends at Double D's Barbecue in Clayton. They're right there, 40 and 39. Little bit of a trip, totally worth it. Something different. You're not going to get anywhere else. They're open Wednesday through Saturday. They are awesome, and they bring receipts. These guys, winners of both Best Ribs and Best Sauce at Ribs Fest in Hendricks County. And a little decor. If you're an Elvis person, they're from Memphis, the owners. Tina and Dennis Duncan, their son Garrett, they're from Memphis. Tina worked at Graceland. It's Elvis themed. You go in there, Double D's, Elvis themed. So if you're looking for something different this weekend, authentic wood-smoked Memphis-style barbecue, check out our friends at Double D's Barbecue in Clayton. Get the full menu, ribs, brisket, and more at ddbbq317.com. Okay, we've got a ton of stuff to get to today. By the way, just a little bit, John Rust is going to be with us. We wanted to chat with him. We want to say thank you to him in person. He is, of course, making our third hour possible that you guys are loving. The numbers have been way up since we added this third hour. We knew they would be. And we wanted to just real quick say thank you to him. We're going to talk a little bit about the election results. We're going to talk about, John Rust kind of tried to run as an independent voice in the Republican Party, got knocked down. And so we'll talk about where the Republican Party is at. Is it pushing more people away than it's bringing in? We'll talk about the Ballard campaign, which, by the way, we have an update on Ballard, so we'll get into that when we come back. We'll get into the update. Ballard is getting all sorts of signatures, which is great news. That's awesome. We're going to talk about Rokita being completely ridiculous and what he had one of his goons do, and then we're going to get into this IndyStar article. We've got a jam-packed Friday show coming your way. Stick around. A lot more coming up next. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Are you seeing cracks in mortar, moisture working through walls, facade or structural failure beginning to surface? Bramwell Mackay sets the standard for exterior and structural building solutions. Our 40-year master masons and industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK. 812-33-BRICK.
Buying a home or thinking about refinancing? Work with someone local who understands the Central Indiana market. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps homebuyers and homeowners explore options for purchasing, refinancing, or even consolidating higher interest debt through their mortgage. Gary's approach is simple, clear advice, and personalized guidance, so you can make confident decisions. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more or get started today. You've got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment. So call for a free, no-obligation quote, 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow, NMLS number 179207 with Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender.
Is your driveway showing signs of wear? Freeze-thaw cycles, road salt, environmental buildup like mold and dirt can all cause unsightly damage that can end up in an expensive repair. That's where Seal Now comes in. Seal Now are the clean, seal, and stain professionals that can help you protect your outdoor surfaces. Got a worn-out fence or deck? They can revive the look while providing long-term protection. Call today, 317-548-2002, or visit sealnow.com. Not only will you get a free estimate, but mention you heard about Seal Now on the Rob Kendall Show and receive 20% off any long-term sealing project.
Hey guys, welcome back. Rob Kendall Show. Man, we got a ton of stuff to get to today. If you haven't done so yet, hit the like button. That helps us so much, guys. We wouldn't ask you to do it if it didn't do us a lot of good. So if you're enjoying what we do, say, how can I help the show? The number one, most easiest, zero-cost way is to hit the like button. Also, Share this feed. We've had great growth this week. It's been because of you guys. Great growth. Share the feed. If you got a Facebook, if you got a Twitter, let people know we're here. Let people know what we're doing. We got to keep growing, keep getting more viewers, keep getting more listeners, because the more people that know about us, the bigger influence that we have over public debate, public policy, public discussion. Look, guys, it's fascinating to me too how much you guys have helped us grow. And this is what I tell people about how our program is doing. And it's really fascinating because the political class, they hate us. Okay, like I can't even begin to tell you how much they hate us. And now their new thing on anything is Rob's just mad because he doesn't have a radio show anymore. Now he just has a little podcast. Okay. Well, let's talk about the math on our little podcast, shall we? And we'll get Jason on here later because he's the one that studies all the numbers. Our average time, whether it's listeners or viewers, spent listening and watching via Apple, Spotify, which, by the way, you can get us there if you want. Get us on Apple, Spotify, all the places. The average time spent listening or viewing to this program each day per listener or viewer is over 60 minutes. 60 minutes. In radio, and this is not an insult to WIBC, it's all radio stations. If you can get 7 to 10 minutes on an average time spent listening, you're doing a happy dance. You're doing a happy dance. Someday we'll talk about how the ratings actually get calculated. I've been asked that all the time, and I'll kind of tell you guys in the industry how the ratings actually work. Because people would always say when we would, by the way, does 9 to Noon ever talk about the ratings anymore? Remember every month we'd put out, hey, we're number one, and we're number one in this demo, and you guys are like, I'm not trying to be facetious when I'm asking this. Have they talked about what they've had 3 months. Because I used to love to do that for you guys. It's just a way to say thank you for making us number one. Thank you for making us number one in the key demos. Do they do that? I'd be very curious to know how they're. I know I can see the top, like everybody else. I can see the top line for the whole station, all the stations now. But someday we'll get into how they actually calculate ratings. I think if you guys would enjoy that, let me know. But people say, well, he's on a podcast. Okay. Our average time spent listening or viewing is over 60 minutes now that we're 3 hours. We do, full disclosure, we do between 2,500 and 3,000 people, unique people a day. If you add that up and that's across all of our platforms. If you add that up, public school math tells me that's about 180,000 minutes, right? That's about 180,000 minutes. 60 times 3,000. That's 180,000 minutes a day. That's pretty damn good for being in doing something for 10 weeks. Think about that. People across our state, 180,000 minutes a day are spent listening or viewing this program. That's pretty damn good. Now, is it the 30 or whatever thousand people I had when I was on the radio? No, but at 7 to 10 minutes versus, 60, guys, we've been gangbusters. We're 10 weeks in. We're just 10 weeks in. We're just 10 weeks in. And it's our 50th show. By the way, thanks for being with us. It's show number 50 today. You guys have been amazing. And they know this stuff, right? Like the people who know what's going on. And the show's just going to continue to grow. If you help us do that. If you help us do that. Sharing us Twitter, Facebook, wherever your social media is. And you would be surprised if you can get us one person, how many people that'll translate into over time. And how it helps us. Other ways so we call it like, share, subscribe. You got the thumbs up button, hit that. Sharing the feed, subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so yet, and if you're new, welcome. We'd love to have you with us. The big benefit of being a subscriber, you can get in the YouTube chat. All the fine people. The little community. And at the end of each show, we have producer Jason read our best YouTube comments of the day, brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. I'm so happy with what we've created here. We've created our own little world here, right? And it's like you guys, and the world grows a little bit. We let people in. It's like Sim City, but with responsible housing development rules, right? And you guys are awesome in the YouTube chat, and we love you. And so thank you. A couple other announcements. Number one, I want to thank everybody who contributed yesterday at robkendallshow.com. We got the support button up there at the top. If you like what we do, if you enjoy the program, if you're like, hey, I don't own a business, or even if you do own a business, but just want to throw a few bucks to keep souping up your studio and doing a whole bunch of other things, we got some we're not done yet. We still got to create a couple more things. Ethan Hatcher does not work for free. We need his drill and his plywood in order to get the rest of the stuff made. We love Ethan. By the way, everybody should listen to Ethan Saturday night on the Circle, 7 to 9 on WIBC, Saturday nights. But I want to thank all the people yesterday who hit the support button. Your generosity is amazing. William and Mark and Ivan and Nicholas and Debbie and Joseph. Thank you guys from the bottom of our hearts for supporting our show and being with us and hitting that support button, whether it's $1, $10, $50, $1,000, whatever it is. We so appreciate you guys that think enough of us to say, here's some of my hard-earned money to be a part of this, to be a part of this family and this cause here together. So thank you. One other thing, then we'll get back to the info, the stuff. The live show. Tickets are selling great. They're very happy. Come be a part of the live show with us on June the 27th. The Rob Kendall one-man live show with special guest appearance by producer Jason. Have we decided, are you going to just roast me? Is that what you're going to do? No music? Just roasting?
Yeah, no music.
Okay. And, man, it's going to be just a fun evening. We had so much fun back in March. Doing it again, June the 27th. Come out, meet some of the other people that you've been in the YouTube chat with, get to know each other. Just an evening for us, Jason and myself, to say thank you to you guys for helping us grow this program the way you have. And it's going to keep growing. And hopefully by June the 27th, we're going to have new great numbers to talk about. And so here's a couple ways you can get the tickets if you want to come join us. We tried to make it super affordable. The Mad Hatter guys were awesome. It's at Mad Hatter Comedy Club Event Center in Greenwood. You know those guys. They were hosts for us in March, which was outstanding. And they really took good care of us again this time. So a couple different ways you can get them. First, we have the link up. If you go to robkendallshow.com by request, the link for the tickets is up on robkendallshow.com. You can also, if you want to bypass robkendallshow.com, you can just go to madhattershows.com, MADHATTER shows.com. And one other option in case you just want to do this as well. I'm on Twitter at Rob M. Kendall. At Rob M. Kendall, I've got the link pinned to the top of the feed. So all those different ways you can get your tickets. Don't wait. We told everybody last time, we said these are going to go quick. They did. And we ended up selling out in a couple weeks. And then we were able to add a few more tickets to try to accommodate people. The setup's going to be a little different this time. So I'm not sure we're going to be able to add the tickets. I talked to John, the owner of the Mad Hatter Event Center, and we put this thing together. I'm not sure they're going to be able to add any more tickets like last time. So get the tickets now. Come join us. Come hang out with us on June the 27th. Okay, let's talk about Greg Ballard for a second, shall we? This is really interesting. So Greg Ballard is the former mayor of Indianapolis, Republican mayor. He is now attempting to run for Secretary of State in the state of Indiana on a third party that doesn't exist right now. Now, I know most of you know this, but for those who don't, he is trying to form what he's calling the Lincoln Party. And in order to have a party on the ballot in Indiana, you have to get at least 2% of the vote in the Secretary of State's race. That gets you what is called general election ballot access. Our libertarian friends have that. They don't have primaries where people can go vote. They have conventions where they nominate their candidates, but they are on the ballot in the fall for elections. They have ballot access. 2% of the Secretary of State vote is the standard. Then there's what we call primary ballot access. That's a big deal. That's what our Republican and Democrat, well, they're not friends, but our Republicans and Democrats have. I have many Democrat friends and Republican friends. I'm just saying I don't think the parties are very receptive as a collective. But they have what's called primary ballot access. And in order to secure that, you need 10% of the vote in the Secretary of State's race. So Greg Ballard, under a banner he is calling the Lincoln Party, is trying to get on the ballot in the Secretary of State's race to create a new third party in the state of Indiana. In order to do that, to get on the ballot, he needs to get 37,000 verified signatures. He has until the end of June to complete this task. He's been at it for about 2 months. He reported yesterday that he has crossed the 20,000 signature threshold. Now, some of these signatures will likely be tossed out. They have to be verified, which means the name has to match the address where people are registered to vote. Not that anybody would do anything malicious. It happens all the time. As somebody who has collected these signatures for a U.S. Senate race before, lots of signatures get thrown out. It's no one's fault. So if you let's just take 10% of his signatures away, that would put him at over 18,000 legitimate signatures that'll hold up, which makes him about halfway there. I have seen these people out collecting signatures. They were at the Brownsburg Walmart the other day getting signatures. And so with still really almost 2 months left to go, he's in that territory of being able to actually get the 37,000 verified signatures, which would put him on the ballot. If Greg Ballard gets on the ballot, I see zero way, as in none, he doesn't end up with 2% of the vote in this state, no matter who the Republican nominee for Secretary of State is. And that would mean there would be another party on our ballots each fall to choose from, provided the Libertarians also get the 2%. Now, there's a real danger the Libertarians may not if Greg Ballard is on the ballot. But all things being equal, I see zero universe where Greg Ballard would not get 2% of the vote if he is on the ballot. And that's a good thing. Now, if Greg Ballard gets 10%, and because he's on the ballot, which if Diego Morales is the nominee, by the way, I've still not heard back from Diego's people. I sent the email to Diego Morales asking for an interview. If you're going to reject me, that's okay. At least put it in writing. By the way, I found another email because I get those spam emails from Diego. I have no idea how I got on his email list. I can assure you I've never asked to be on a Diego Morales email. Hey, Diego, how'd you get my stuff? I'm going to send it to the other email that I have because I'm going to make them reject me. I'm going to make Diego's people reject me. But there's a real chance if Diego Morales is the nominee for the Republicans, Greg Ballard will not only get the 10%, he'll get well over 10%. And then you will have a third party with primary ballot access in our state. And look, I'm not endorsing anyone. I'm not telling anybody to vote for anyone. When I decide who I'm going to vote for, I will do that. I'm not even in that universe close to it yet. I will tell you, though, that if you're asked to sign that petition by the Ballard campaign, I would encourage you to do it. The more people that we have on our ballot, the more options we have, the more people being a part of the discussion. When you factor in how the Republicans and Democrats have gone out of their way to do everything in their power to keep people from running for public office, 80+%, we'll get into this with Rust coming up next segment, 80+% of the people are ineligible to run for public office as a Republican or Democrat in Indiana. That's not good. If we're forced to pay for elections, we should be able to run in them. Hey, if you don't want me to run in your party, don't make me pay for your stuff, right? Like, that is the most you do you thing imaginable. It's like my neighbors. As long as you keep your grass cut and your weeds chopped down and your trees reasonably trimmed, right? Like, I don't expect it to be better homes and gardens at your house. And what you do in your own house, I don't care. As long as you're not running a criminal ring in your house, I don't care what you do in your house. I don't care who you do it with. As long as you're not doing anything that harms me, I don't care. But I also don't have to pay for these people's stuff. And so for the Republicans and Democrats, if they don't want me to be able to be a part of their club, don't make me pay for their stuff. Do it like the Libertarians do. Nominate your candidates at conventions. They've figured out how to do it. But if you're going to make everybody pay for your stuff, they get to be a part of it. I get to be a part of what I'm forced to pay for. Okay, let's talk about what Rokita did. This is fascinating. I'm going to be very curious what you guys think about this, because this has been a really big story now, and it's getting all sorts of attention. Before we do that, though, hey, is your driveway showing signs of wear? Freeze-thaw cycles, road salts, environmental buildup like mold and dirt can all cause unsightly damage that can end up an expensive repair. That's where Seal Now comes in. The clean, seal, and stain professionals. They help you protect and bring back to life your outdoor surfaces. They do driveways, patios, sidewalks, and they do a lot more than just concrete. Seal Now does decks, fences, pergolas, any exterior concrete or wood outdoor structure that needs cleaned or maintained. Seal Now, they're your guys. Call today, 317-548-2002. 317-548-2002, or visit sealnow.com. SEALNOW.com. You'll get a free estimate. And by the way, at Seal Now, you can see some of the work they've done. It's outstanding. Like Damon, the owner, was showing it to me when I first met him and heard about Seal Now. And I was like, this is unbelievable. You can see all the work they do. You get a free estimate for your job. And if you mention you heard about Seal Now on the Rob Kendall Show, they're going to take 20% off any long-term sealing project. 20% off. SEALNOW.com. Sealnow.com. Okay, so let's talk about what went down with Rokita, because there's so many things with Rokita that are just super weird. And I've told you, and we laid this out, and we had AJ Feeney-Ruiz in a couple weeks ago, who used to work for Rokita, talking about how much Todd Rokita's changed over time. I think Todd Rokita went into politics. I think he's always been an ambitious guy, but I think he went in as an independent free thinker. I think he found out the way that we see every day that there is less and less room for independent free thought in the political parties. Guys like me made a choice. Well, I'll just go here and do this because being able to look myself in the mirror matters to me far more than shilling for any group of people that I don't believe in, or telling you things I don't believe in, or advocating for stuff I'm not about. And unfortunately, guys like Rokita, that is their life. The politics, the government is their life. And you take a guy like Rokita, who was fiercely independent as Secretary of State, took all sorts of hard positions that were right for us, including, and no one will ask Rokita about this. This is what's amazing to me. The maps that we have in Indiana today for redistricting, with slight shifts for population changes, are almost identical to the maps Todd Rokita proposed when he was Secretary of State a decade and a half ago, eliminating politics from the drawing. Having artificial intelligence, or the early incarnation of artificial intelligence, taking politics out of the equation and drawing fair maps that actually represent the districts properly. But now Todd Rokita is vehemently against that. I don't know if that's just malfeasance on the part of the media, malpractice, whatever. Malware. I don't know what you want to call it. But they won't ask him about this. Like, how can you possibly have felt so strongly about something and that you were such a staunch vocal advocate for it? It's right. It's actually really good. And now you're just vehemently against it. But my point is, Rokita had an opportunity to be something really special, and he's just become another guy in the Trump wannabe political equation. So this article comes to us from the Indiana Capitol Chronicle, and I want to know what you guys think about this, because I think, and I'm going to go into detail on why I think this is totally unacceptable what Rokita's goon did. I'm sure it had to be I can't fathom this guy did it on his own without Rokita knowing. But maybe I'm way off on this. Maybe this is one of those ones where you're like, Rob, you're just wrong. Okay. YouTube chat. Let me know as we go into the story. So a Monroe County resident, the guy's name was Lee Lawmaster. Now, real quick let me preface this. There's a difference between being an idiot and being a criminal. There's a difference between being inappropriate and being a criminal. There's a difference between being a dumbass and being a criminal. There's many people who are inappropriate, they're idiots, and they're dumbasses. But they're not criminals. So a guy by the name of Lee Lawmaster, he lives in Monroe County, that's Bloomington, posted 86 on the official Facebook page of several top Indiana elected Republicans, and that included Attorney General Todd Rokita. So for those of you, most of you know, and this is now front and center with the news with James Comey, the former FBI director who put 8647 in seashells on the beach, and now he's facing charges related to that. 86, it can be a slang to get rid of people, like eliminate them from a position, but it can also be a slang for eliminating people as in their life. And Comey is now facing charges from the Trump administration about this. Now, look, I don't agree with that. James Comey falls into the category of being a moron. He's a dumbass. But is our society going to be better served by throwing some guy in federal prison because he put 8647 on a bunch of seashells on the beach? Like, is that? I mean, I kind of feel like we let really, really bad people, like really actually hyper dangerous people who actually do really, really horrible things to humanity out of our prison system all the time. Do we really want to take up space with James Comey? Does anybody think James Comey was really, really like going to be a threat to the president? And I think now we're just getting to the point where we have we're on both sides, because Biden did this crap too, where and Obama did this crap too, where we're just weaponizing the justice system against our enemies. We're just taking our justice system and we are just using it as a way to silence our enemies, people we don't like politically. Again, James Comey's awful. He's awful. But I don't think any reasonable person thought, okay, the guy made a joke. You could say it's totally inappropriate. Agree. But nobody thinks in their right mind that James Comey was plotting to take out the president. He doesn't have the power to do any of that anymore. He's a nobody. So this guy, this moron, Monroe County resident Lee Lawmaster, posts 8-6 on the Facebook pages of, it appears, several Indiana politicians, including Rokita. Inappropriate? Yes. Stupid? Yes. Are you an idiot? Yes. Are you a criminal? I don't think so. Rokita, well, we don't know for sure whether Rokita sent him. Knowing how Rokita's office works, I can't fathom that this guy went without Rokita's express written consent / direction. Rokita sent an investigator from the Attorney General's office to this guy's house and threatened to indict him for the threats. The Attorney General's office sent an investigator to this guy's home to threaten that he could be indicted for what he posted on Facebook. Now the ACLU of Indiana is suing on behalf of Lawmaster's, quote, protected political speech. So now I'm hating everybody in this equation. Rokita's being completely ridiculous, and we'll get into why in a second. We'll get into the hypocrisy of Rokita on this in a second. Rokita's being completely ridiculous. He's essentially trying to use his office to bully this guy. But then I load the ACLU too, and now they're involved. And so now we got this guy in a lawsuit. So this comes off as like attention grabbing. So this is one where we're probably going to say all of these people suck completely. The federal lawsuit filed against Kurt Spivey, according to the Capitol Chronicle, director of investigations for the Indiana Attorney General's office, in his individual and official capacities. So they're suing him. What that means is they're suing him both as Kurt Spivey, the person, and they're suing him as his position as director of investigations for the Attorney General's office. The lawsuit claims Spivey came to lawmakers' home on May 1st to question him about the posts. And again, I'm reading from the Capitol Chronicle here because I want to make sure I get their words correct. During the interaction, Spivey told, Lawmaster, that his protected expression had, quote, crossed the line and warned that, quote, we could easily indict you over this today, and instructed him to, quote, tone it down a bit. Okay. Let's talk about the 10 million problems with all of this. First of all, investigators with the Attorney General's office generally do not have police powers. For the most part, with very rare exceptions as it relates to the Medicaid fraud unit, the Attorney General's office is not a police organization. Todd Rokita is not trying people for murder. Like, that's a big, huge misconception. Now, you may have it because you're a member of the general public. I wouldn't expect you to know. I would, however, expect the Attorney General to know what his actual powers of his office are. So you have a guy, this Kurt Spivey, going to this guy's house, threatening to indict him when he doesn't have the ability to do that, because the last time I checked, posting 8-6 on Facebook ain't in the Medicaid fraud division. The office, according to Capitol Chronicle, the office generally can't initiate criminal prosecutions. Now, this is important, and Rokita should know this, because you guys remember last year when I was begging Rokita to do something about Diego, the 10-day trip to India where he wouldn't tell you who paid for the trip? You guys remember that when I was like, Rokita has the ability to do something about it? And finally, Casey Hendrickson, I think WOWO is the station he's on. I think he's on 2 stations up there. He's a radio broadcaster from Northeast Indiana. Casey Hendrickson finally was the only member of the media who would ask him about this. And Rokita on that show, I heard the audio, made very clear about his excuse not to do anything about Diego and the trip to India, because what it says right here in the Capitol Chronicle, the Attorney General's office cannot initiate criminal prosecutions. That was his excuse for doing nothing about Diego. So clearly Rokita knew it then, or he was making it up then, because he sure sent, or, well, I don't know if he sent, but he sure appears to be okay with Kurt Spivey, director of investigations, going to this guy's house, threatening to indict him. How can that be possible that when it comes to Diego and the trip to India and finding out who paid for that trip? Oh, here we go, guys, because I know it's a crowd favorite. Unlike Diego, says nobody believes, I pay for India. I pay. Nobody believes that. Nobody believes that for a second. How is it possible that when it came time to why won't you investigate Diego, I don't have the authority, but when it comes time to threaten this idiot who posted 8-6 on Facebook, they were all about that? Both of these things can't be true. If you want to say you don't have the power, okay, then you don't have the power to indict this guy. And you screwed up big time. And you need to admit it. If you do have the power, okay, I'll accept that too. Then I'll ask the question again a year later. Why won't you investigate who paid for Diego's trip to India? This is when I talk about Rokita and the never-ending blowhard BS. Now, the Attorney General's office does have very limited concurrent jurisdiction with local prosecutors. But here's the examples of this, right? Like, I'm trying to be as fair as I possibly can be with this based on the numerous articles I read about this. Some of these things are homicide resulting from an unlawful assembly. That didn't happen here. Consumer protection. I think the only guy Rokita's concerned about protecting is himself, and I guess he consumes things, but I don't think that qualifies either. And public corruption from elected officials. Public corruption from elected officials, which is exactly why I was begging Todd Rokita to investigate Diego Morales. Once again, how many damn times over the past 10 years has everybody just shit all over me, and then I've been proven exactly correct? And here it is. Rokita has had the ability to investigate Diego Morales. How many times, guys, has this happened? Where I get up these public officials' backsides for not doing something. Instead of doing the thing they're supposed to do, they just come back at me, and then it gets proven, oh my gosh, Rob was right. Todd Rokita does have the ability to work with whatever prosecutor he wants to find out the truth about Diego Morales. And even if he didn't, you don't think the bully pulpit of the Attorney General demanding to know, saying, hey, Ryan Mears, you need to launch an informal or a formal investigation into this. I want to know. I want to know. These guys are just the worst at everything. You sent a goon to this guy's house to threaten him to indict him when you can't indict him? But you use as an excuse, I don't have the ability to indict when it comes to investigating what I think any person with an IQ above 7 says could possibly, quite possibly be serious public corruption? And not just the India stuff. The whole frickin' office that he runs, the whole show that he runs over there should be investigated. Here's what the ACLU, Ken Falk, legal director at the ACLU of India, Ken Falk has been there forever. I think Ken Falk has been there like 30 years. I remember in high school talking to him about something at the ACLU. I don't know if that's been his position the whole time, but he's been at the ACLU forever. It was in the high school student newspaper. Quote, government officials cannot treat political criticism as a criminal threat simply because they disagree with it. Mr. Lawmaster did nothing more than express his view that elected officials should be removed from office. Sending a state investigator to his home to warn him that he could be indicted for that speech is exactly the kind of government intimidation the First Amendment forbids. Look, this guy's a moron. I can't imagine being friends with this guy or hanging out with this guy. Everyone should totally reject this guy. And look, if a local prosecutor or law enforcement agency wants to investigate it and they determine a serious threat was made, great, that's on them. That's their job. But the idea that Rokita sent out his goon squad to threaten this guy to do something they can't do, everyone should totally reject that. Let's reject, as usual in these stories. We reject everyone. All of you people are awful. Someone who's not awful, Lauren Wilson. Don't leave your biggest investment to chance. By the way, let me know what you guys think about this in the YouTube chat. Do you think Rokita acted outside his bounds? Do you think I'm right that if you're going to say you can indict this guy, that then you can also investigate Diego Morales? What do you guys think? Let us know in the YouTube chat. We'll read some of those comments or try to read some of those comments later. Hey, don't leave your biggest investment to chance. Work with Lauren Wilson, a realtor who is Hoosier through and through. Military vet, dedicated to a high standard of service, Lauren Wilson is ready to help you start your next chapter. Lauren Wilson gets moving, selling, buying. That's a huge life change. You need someone to take the stress off of you. Call her today. Get to know her. Set up a game plan. Planning is so important. Lauren Wilson with At Properties, 317-590-2290, 317-590-2290. Okay, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk with John Russ. We just want to say thank you to John for making this third hour possible. And just actually wanted to ask him about the stuff with Ballard. I think it's super interesting. The ballot access, he was, of course, kicked off the ballot, how 80+% of Hoosiers are ineligible to run. We'll get into that and a whole bunch more. Plus, this is really interesting. What the hell's going on with egg prices? He's an egg farmer. Egg prices are way down. I want to know. That's the theme of today's show. I want to know. We'll talk with John Russ coming up next. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Is your driveway showing signs of wear? Freeze-thaw cycles, road salt, environmental buildup like mold and dirt can all cause unsightly damage that can end up in an expensive repair. That's where Seal Now comes in. Seal Now are the clean, seal, and stain professionals that can help you protect your outdoor surfaces. Got a worn-out fence or deck? They can revive the look while providing long-term protection. Call today, 317-548-2002, or visit sealnow.com. Not only will you get a free estimate, but mention you heard about Seal Now on the Rob Kendall Show and receive 20% off any long-term sealing project.
Hi, I'm Lauren Wilson, a realtor with App Properties. Born and raised right here in central Indiana and a Hoosier through and through. Selling your home is a massive undertaking, and I completely understand what that is. That's why when you work with me, we put a great plan together to make sure that when your home comes to the market, it is in the best light possible. Again, I'm Lauren Wilson, 317-590-2290. 317-590-2290. Let's put a plan together and get your home sold.
Welcome back. Rob Kendall Show, joined in the studio by the man who has made it possible for us to have a third hour and a billboard, the great John Russ. John, hello.
Hey, thanks so much for having me, and it is an honor to do anything I can to help your show. Absolutely.
You have been so awesome to us, and I said we have to have you on in person to thank you. So first of all, I want to start with the billboard. The amount of people have said they've seen the billboards on 65, 69, all over the place. Man, thank you for that. And there is, the people have now there's controversy about JR billboards. Is that you?
No,
are you the JR billboard?
That's not me. I just rent them like anyone else.
Because I was like,
I'm just a chicken farmer in the real world.
I was like, our guy Rust is so rich, he just bought the billboards. That's not you.
No.
Well, man, they're awesome. We can't thank you enough for that. And then you stepped up. I went to you and I said, John, man, people are asking us, would you do a third hour? We want to do some national stuff. And without question, you were like, I'll do it. Let me know what we need to do.
You know, your show is so important to Indiana.
And you have your own radio show.
Yes, on Freedom 95.
I have a coffee mug with your name on it and logo on it.
Yes.
When does it air? When is
Saturdays at 1 o'clock and Tuesdays at 7 a.m.
All right, let's get to the nitty gritty. First of all, the elections. Were you surprised at all the incumbents that went down?
No, not at all. I think people are sick of high gas prices. They're sick of property taxes. They're sick of the data centers. They're sick of everything the Indiana establishment is pushing on Hoosiers. You know, I think it was just an anti-establishment election.
Which is so weird because banks, a group affiliated with banks, kind of bankrolled a lot of this nonprofit group. And Banks is super establishment, yet he's getting all the credit for beating the anti-establishment.
Well, you look at who went to their rallies, you see the numbers. I think the result would have been the same either way. People are sick of the gas prices. They're sick of the property taxes. You know what property taxes are doing in Indiana? Right. It is insane.
So you said that, I think that's interesting, and I said the same thing. I think the redistricting got Trump, it got money, it got workers, but I think the issues that people voted on were not redistricting.
No, I think the issues people were voting for, first and foremost, was property tax, the gasoline tax, the tolls. You know, you asked about the billboards. One of the reasons I started renting those billboards is to put no to toll roads on there, because I am sick of what the establishment's doing by trying to say, hey, let's toll people in addition to having the 5th highest gasoline tax in the country, the 2nd highest sales tax in the country. It is insanity.
Okay, so you're fascinating to me because by all accounts, you're not wanted in a post office anywhere, not on the run from the law.
Just a chicken farmer.
Okay. I have seen so many people who were outraged. It came out, you're supporting David Shelton running for Secretary of State, as any decent member of humanity would, against Diego. Right. And I've seen so many people, now, I don't know if this is true or not, but they're like, well, if Rust is for Shelton, I'm for Diego. And they're all political people. And it's like,
that's the establishment people that are behind banks. That's the money people.
Yeah, well, what?
You know, I think
Diego's so bad. What does it matter who John Rust is for?
Right. And, if anything, if they were saying, well, anyone that supports David should be, applauded by Republicans. Right. They should not be attacked at all.
Why do they hate you so much? What have you done to them? Haven't you given a bunch of money to Republicans and Republican
I have only
causes?
given money to the Republicans my entire life. But when I ran for political office, they said, nope, stop the press. You're not allowed to run. We'll take your money, but we're not going to take your vote, just like they do on the primaries.
Yeah,
we have to pay for it. But if we try to run ourselves, 81% of Hoosiers are banned from running for political office.
Okay, so I saw this.
And so I was happy to see on the state Senate things, 4 of those people that lost voted for the bill that made the 2 primary rule in the first place, that law. So I was happy to see them out. So it was a good thing.
Well, yeah. And so I think about guys like you and Sid Mahant. Sid Mahant ran for State House out in Avon. and they tried to get him labeled as a Republican in bad standing. And it's not whether I'm for somebody or against somebody, but it's like this guy had, like you, given huge money to Republicans. You take all the money from the guy, and then they want to run, and they're like, no. Like they want the money. They don't want anybody else being involved in the club, though.
It should be the voters who decide. That's what Abraham Lincoln said. Elections belong to the people. It's their decision, except in Indiana, unfortunately.
John Rust is our guest. So what do you think your lawsuit and your try to run for office, do you feel like it changed anything? Like when you look back now, you're a couple years on from this. Just a reminder, you tried to run for Senate. Mm-hmm. They tried to ban you. The Republicans tried to ban you because you'd only voted in one Republican primary.
Right.
And then you sued. You won at the local level in a split Supreme Court decision. They ruled that the parties basically can require whatever amount of primaries they want. Do you feel like anything's changed since you did that? Do you regret doing that? How do you look back on it now?
I think it raised awareness to the fact that 81% of Hoosiers are banned from political office. And I see that all across the state. Other candidates are actually bringing that point up now, because I think a lot of people were shocked to learn that they could throw someone like me off the ballot. I was shocked to learn that. It was, I wasn't expecting that at all. I thought I would be welcome into the Republican Party.
Yeah, they welcomed your money, right?
They'll take your money, but your vote, or when you want to run for something yourself, they say no way.
And I think, so Greg Ballard, we talked with Nikki Kelly earlier in the show about this. Greg Ballard had a press release. They did a big article on it where he came out. Now, Ballard didn't say boo when he was the mayor of Indianapolis about the restrictive party voting system as a Republican, but he has this whole press release about running as a third party, how restrictive our ballot access is, and I was reading this going, that's all because of Rust. The people are talking about that now because of you.
Well, I think the people of Indiana want more people like me running for office. They are sick of career politicians. And I think that was the big thing in last Tuesday's election, was people saying, hey, no to incumbents. We are sick of career politicians.
John Rust is our guest. Let's talk about inflation. You obviously are in this world, right? You're a chicken farmer,
right?
Egg farmer. You deal with the prices of stuff. Inflation seems very bad, and I don't see the Trump administration or Republicans doing anything to address it, especially in the food world of things. But you live there. What say you?
Farmers are getting killed right now. Like as an egg farmer, we get about 35 cents a dozen right now is what we're getting for a dozen
How much?
eggs. 35 cents.
That seems like a lot.
If you see it at the store at $1.67, the cost for us to produce a dozen eggs is well over $1.25. So we're losing almost $1 a dozen right now.
Holy smokes.
But that's okay. That's the free market working.
You're so nonchalant about that. Like if I lost 90 cents on anything, I'd be mad, much less a dozen eggs times. What do you guys do? How many millions of eggs?
I don't believe in corporate welfare. I don't believe in government picking winners and losers. I believe in letting the free market decide who the egg farmer should be, not, a governor or the IEDC, for instance.
So that's wild. So like when eggs are cheap for me, you're really taking a bath on it.
Mm-hmm.
It means I could end up with one less billboard. I think I should just go ahead and I'll just go ahead and pay more for the eggs.
Right.
So it costs 30?
We're getting today. We're getting 35 cents a dozen on average for our eggs, and what's going to happen, and they cost $1.25 to produce at least.
So you lose 90 cents on every dozen. Right. You ever maybe I should just, be a bean farmer instead? It's like, does that cross your mind?
Over time, it works out. Farming, you make money 1 year and you give it back for the next 3 to 4 years. That's just how farming works long term.
Let's talk about your future, because I'm fascinated by this, because you have the ability to do whatever you want. Are you going to run against Todd Young for Senate?
I don't know. We'll see.
Because I thought the Carlin Yoder guy was going to run. Maybe he is still planning on running. He looks straight out of Central Casting, but he's kind of been a turd as a candidate so far. Like, there's a void there. People hate Todd Young.
Right.
And they can't ban you this time.
No.
Other than your association with me might get you.
Well, we'll see. Maybe if I do, I kind of expect the Indiana General Assembly to once again tighten the rule and maybe require 8 primaries in the rule or something like that, because they are scared of someone like me because they can't control me.
Right.
Because I'm not going to be beholden to the money train. The money train that controls Jim Banks and Diego Morales. That is who really controls Indiana politics right now, and I think that's wrong. Farmers should be able to run for political office, in my opinion.
Well, my whole thing is it's that they make people pay for the primaries. Mm-hmm. Like, you do whatever you want. They could make 10 primaries if you want. But the fact that we have to pay for it, on the Democrat side, the same thing, and then you can't participate in the primary you run in, that to me is the deal where it's like, this is ridiculous.
Or they'll take your campaign donation check.
Yeah. When like they tried to ban you, you're like, can I have my money back now? Like, did they like send that back? Like, I thought about that at Life Church when all that went down. I was like, can I get all my charitable giving back? What do you...
Well, you know what I would like to see for career politicians and all politicians? You know how we have nutrition facts on all food labels?
Yeah, that's right.
We need a nutrition facts for politicians that shows how much money they have spent, for how much debt they've added to the government, how much,
I like that.
Government spending. We need to work on that. I think that would be a fantastic idea.
Successful people fascinate me. So, like, when you wake up each day, like you decide, am I going to run against Todd Young? What do you think about? Like, what goes into your mind whether you should do that or not?
Well, I think, as always I've done in my whole life, I want to do what's right for everyone in my community. And so I will see when the time comes whether I run for something or not. I may not. I don't know.
Governor, maybe?
You never know. One thing I don't like right now is this toll road thing.
Yeah.
SB1, in my opinion, that was a Trojan horse to really get the toll roads authorized for every mile of Indiana interstates.
And they're going for
That's dead wrong. I spend a lot of my time driving all across Indiana. I don't want to pay a toll.
Yeah.
I already pay the 5th highest gasoline tax in the country and the 2nd highest sales tax.
Do you think these Senate candidates, because we talked to Nikki Kelly about this earlier, Bray and Braun agreed on most of the stuff that's screwing Hoosiers, right? They disagreed on the redistricting, but the core stuff they agreed on. Do you think these 6 people are going to make any difference when it comes to changing policy that affects us?
No, I think we have to have real people running for political office, that have real life experience. In my case as a farmer, but it could be a school teacher, it could be a plumber, a mechanic, whatever. I think we need real people running for office, not these career politicians.
If you had to take a guess right now, do you think Braun's going to run for reelection?
I don't know. I just don't know.
All right. Again, we got to say thank you to you, John. And one of the reasons I want to have you here, because we say thank you on the show, but I wanted to say thank you in person because you have been such a blessing to us. And from the moment I met with you before we even had this show, and I said, here's what we're thinking about doing. You very generously offered a whole bunch of other stuff too. And we may eventually take you up on some of that stuff, but you've just been, and I want our audience to know, for Jason and myself.
You are a beacon. Ronald Reagan used to
hear that? I'm a beacon.
Ronald Reagan used to talk about, the shining city.
Yeah.
And your show is a shining city on the hill for all Hoosiers to see what's really going on, because we're not hearing it from anyone else.
Well, we would not be able to do a lot of these things. We have this third hour because of you, have the billboards because of you. You've been just such a huge supporter. And I told Jason, I said, once we get in the studio, we need to have John back in to thank him for doing that. So on behalf of all of our audience that has really enjoyed this, they've all said thank you in the chat. For Jason and for myself, thank you for letting us do this and letting us.
Thank you to all the advertisers on Rob's show.
That's
I
right.
can't wait to have Double D's barbecue.
That's right. Double D's. John Russ, you're the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Is your driveway showing signs of wear? Freeze-thaw cycles, road salt, environmental buildup like mold and dirt can all cause unsightly damage that can end up in an expensive repair. That's where Seal Now comes in. Seal Now are the clean, seal, and stain professionals that can help you protect your outdoor surfaces. Got a worn-out fence or deck? They can revive the look while providing long-term protection. Call today, 317-548-2002, or visit sealnow.com. Not only will you get a free estimate, but mention you heard about Seal Now on the Rob Kendall Show and receive 20% off any long-term sealing project.
Are you seeing cracks in mortar, moisture working through walls, facade or structural failure beginning to surface? Bramwell Mackay sets the standard for exterior and structural building solutions. Our 40-year master masons and industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK. 812-33-BRICK.
Your bathroom fan could be secretly costing you thousands of dollars in damages. Most people don't even know this until the damage is done. With over 18 years of bathroom remodeling experience, here are 3 signs your fan is failing you without spending a dime on inspections. Sign number 1 is if you have foggy mirrors after you shower. This shows that your fan isn't pulling out enough moisture, which creates the perfect environment for mold. If you have a properly functioning bathroom fan that is the right size for your space, you shouldn't see much fogginess on your bathroom mirror at all. Sign number 2 is if you have bubbling, cracking, or peeling paint in your bathroom. This means moisture is soaking into your walls, slowly breaking down drywall, and even causing the wood framing behind it to rot. Sign number 3 is if you have mold buildup on your fan, ceilings, or walls. This is terrible for your health, but also could wreck your bathroom, costing you a fortune. If you're noticing any of these signs, here's what you can do.
Call Vent Savvy today at 317-300-4434. That's 317-300-4434 and mention Rob for a free attic inspection.
Hey guys, welcome back. Hope you're having a great Friday. Rob Kendall Show. If you haven't done so yet, hit that like button. Hit the little thumbs up right there on YouTube. Man, it helps us out so much. Also, share the feed, get it out there. Facebook, Twitter, tell people what we're doing. That's how we grow. It all happens organically. It all happens through you guys. And of course, I know most of you have already done so, but if you haven't yet, whatever platform you're watching us on or listening to us on, hit the subscribe button. If you're on YouTube, subscribe. Apple, Spotify, give us that 5-star review over there as well. That's how we grow this program. That's how we keep talking about the issues that are most important to you guys. And that's our goal. A little bit at a time, right? And that's, a little insider baseball here. We are pleased to death with how this show has grown. We set very reasonable expectations for ourselves when we started, what we thought it could do, what we thought it could be, how long it would take us to where we want to be, what we want to do. And we've just blown past. We've just blown past all of what we thought was going to be possible, what we thought was going to happen. And that's really thanks to you guys. So we can't thank you enough. Stay with us. Keep putting the word out about us, and we'll keep delivering for you guys. One other thing, if you're feeling generous, hit that support button over at robkendallshow.com. robkendallshow.com, $1, $10, $10,000 if you're that person that won that $2 million the other day. robkendallshow.com, support button. Thanks again to the fine folks yesterday. Let me make sure I get all the names right, who were super generous. William and Mark and Ivan and Nicholas, Debbie and Joseph all hit the support button over at robkendallshow.com. And speaking of robkendallshow.com, live show link. The link to go to the live show, June the 27th, Mad Hatter Event Center and Comedy Club in Greenwood. They were our hosts last time. They were outstanding. It's Rob Kendall, one-man show. We're going to tear the house down on this one. We're going to have a few laughs. We're going to roast some politicians. Maybe we'll do a little Q&A at the end. Producer Jason will be there. Man, it's going to be just a rocking evening. Really a chance for us to say thank you to you guys for helping us grow. Right now through the first 10 weeks. We'll be a lot further than that by the time the live show comes along. Would love the opportunity to meet you guys in person, say thanks in person, and get to know you. Get the link, robkendallshow.com. robkendallshow.com. We got the ticket link there. If you want to bypass that, if you're a person who's like, I can peck on my keyboard all by myself, madhattershows.com. MADHATTER shows.com. You can get the tickets there as well. Hey, you guys got a leaky chimney, water in your basement, cracks around the exterior of your home? Bramwell Mackay Property Services and Consultants is your authority for chimney repair, tuck pointing, foundation repair, crawl space to basement conversions, basement waterproofing, and more. Bramwell Mackay doesn't just offer quick patches. Their team of 40-year master masons and industry experts address the root cause and provide solutions that last lifetimes. Your home is one of your biggest investments. Treat it that way. Bramwell Mackay, your masonry, foundation, and chimney specialist, BRAMWELLMCKAY.com. Okay, coming up here in just a little bit, we're going to get to this article, this opinion piece that I wrote today in the Indy Star about what went on with redistricting. What went on with our elections, the elections on Tuesday. What is special? What is different? What's kind of the same? I wrote this piece where I took, because I thoroughly reject the narrative that it was all redistricting. I think the only thing redistricting did was bring the resources in. Trump brought a lot of attention with that endorsement, which was around redistricting, and it brought the Turning Point people in to go knock on doors and then that dark money to buy the ads. And that made a difference. But the votes were not cast about redistricting. If you listen to the ads and look at the ads that were run, most of them were not about redistricting. They're about issues. And so I took a look in this column at what I felt were the 3 top races that Turning Point and Trump wanted, based on their actions, based on the rallies, based on the money being spent. And it was Travis Holdman in Northeast Indiana, it was Spencer Deary in Lafayette, and Greg Good in Terre Haute. And they all 3 had very different results, despite all 3 voting against redistricting. So we'll go into that in a little bit and the reaction to it. But first, guys, I told you last year when the property tax bill, when it all went south, when it all went sideways, when they were getting ready to vote on this, and one of the last things I told the governor in the last supper that we had together over at State Party headquarters, I said, please do not sign this bill. Everyone's going to hate it. And I said, please don't do this because you are going to open the floodgates to school referendums across the state. Because the schools are not going to accept any other reduction in revenue. And one of the things I remember was we had a back and forth, and I had multiple conversations with Braun and Mike, and I can't remember if this was the last one or the next to last one. We had a couple. But they asked me, they said, well, like, what's the difference? I said, the difference is the initial Braun bill that was rolled out. They said, well, you'd have a school referendum on the initial bill. I said, yeah, I'm willing to risk it for $600 a year that stays low. Like if I'm getting $600 a year, because remember, the original Braun bill was a reset of property tax bills. That was why I was on board. Now, remember, let's go way, way back, right? We got time, right? We got nothing but time here. Let's go back in memory lane a little bit, shall we? So, Braun, look, they were begging for my endorsement. And I've laid out in the Indy Star article and others that they had me go to the party headquarters and they were selling me on all the things they were going to do with property taxes. And it was Braun and it was Josh Kelly, Braun's chief of staff, and Micah. And then one of the things they were talking about was this political action committee. It showed up in redistricting. They sure made a statement in redistricting. They didn't do shit when it came to property taxes. They promised me they were going to. That was one of their big selling points was, Rob, we've got this political action committee, and these senators who don't get on board, we're gonna tell them. We're gonna show them what's what. Exactly what they did with redistricting. It's why I'm so angry about redistricting. One of the reasons. And so they roll out this property tax plan, and remember, Braun came on our show. He actually unveiled it on our show. You guys remember this? He came in. He said, I'm doing the property tax reveal here. Here's my plan. That plan had a reset of property tax bills to 2021 levels. And I said, okay, that will essentially solve the assessment issue because then they were going to cap the amount the bills could go up going forward. Says they're going to assess them for whatever they want. The new law will cap the increase. Well, he had a name for it. It was cut, cap, and replace. Is that what it was? He had a slogan for it. I forget what it was. And said, okay, all right. So now we've solved the issue, right? We've solved the issue where you're resetting the bills, which gets us out of the ridiculous increases. He's trying to blame it on Biden's inflation. I was like, no. But I'm not going to have that fight with you right now if you're going to do the thing I want you to do. I'll let you lie if the end result works. I'm just kidding. I was just not going to let him get away with that. But at the time, I was like, okay, just get the thing on the floor. Just get the thing on the floor because it will help everyone. If you want to tell yourself it was because of Biden and you guys didn't play any role in it, okay, whatever makes you feel good. Let's just fix the issue for homeowners. So he rolls that out on our show with the bill reset. And I said, okay, cool. I'm on board. Then they came back with something related to the homestead credit. And they started getting in these percentages. And me and my old buddy Steve-O, who used to be a prominent newspaper writer in Northeast Indiana, we sat down when he rolled that out, and I was like, Steve, I don't think this is going to work. And he's like, no, it's not going to work. And we went through and we tore that thing up to the point they finally had to admit, you guys remember this? All this played out in public. Because remember, Braun changed the thing like 3 times. McCormick was ripping on him, Jennifer McCormick, the Democrat, because he couldn't make up his mind. And when they unveiled the thing, I said, called Josh Kelly, I said, this is not working. This is not going to work. He's like, yeah, well. It's like, no. I'm the property tax guy. That's why you're begging for my endorsement. This is not working. We got a major problem if you don't fix this. So then they reverted back. You guys remember all of this? It's all played out in public. They finally reverted back to, they finally had to admit, okay, you were right. We'll go back. And this is when I started getting concerned because I was like, okay, if you're this nonchalant about this thing, look, property taxes are so complex, you cannot be nonchalant about it. You cannot be half-baked when you go into things. You have to either be all in or you're all out. And you have to understand the minutia and the details and everything else associated with property taxes. And just going, yeah, we'll figure it out later. That doesn't work. So, they finally settled on that. And then the thing obviously ends up getting carved up. It gets destroyed. But I told them at the time, I said, your initial plan, the bill reset, would have saved me $600. I'll fight a school referendum over $600 a year. I'm willing to go to bat on that. And it stays low. It stays down, right? Because they were capping the amount the bills could go up to, like, what was it? It was 1 or 2% a year. I said, that's significant savings over time. I'll go knock on 10,000 doors for that. I'm not fighting for something that I get $150 a year to start out and then it's gone in a year, which is exactly what's played out, right? It's exactly how this has gone down. The savings are being wiped out. You guys have sent your bills. You've sent your assessments. You've done the math. You guys are seeing this. And by the way, you notice there's no refute. If I were so wrong, there's nobody's refuting anything. It's not like they go there and no, here's where Rob's wrong. And the school systems are saying the same thing. But I said, you're going to have, so Mr. Governor, I said, you're going to have every school district in the state go for a referendum if you do this bill because of the money you're giving away to businesses. That's what the property tax bill ultimately became. Was a giant giveaway to big business. Why? Because big business writes checks to politicians. And I said, the people are getting nothing. They'll end up with nothing in a very short period of time once the credit gets swallowed up with assessments. And then every school district in the state is going to go for a referendum because they're, quote unquote, losing the money. And then that's when Braun and Micah made the famous statement, well, we'll go knock on doors. We'll go knock on doors. I said, I want to get that in writing. I looked right at him. I said, I want to get that in writing, Mike. I think in the middle of the meeting when I said I was going to screw everybody, Mr. Governor stopped and it became Mike. I said, I want to see that in writing. Well, there were, a couple school referendums in 25, right? Avon had one. Fort Wayne had one. Now, Micah, to his credit, he did in the most half-assed way possible go out there for a couple hours and get a photo op one day. So I guess technically he did knock on a few doors. The Avon one sailed through. Braun, did anyone see Braun with his walking shoes on? Can anybody produce a photo of Braun knocking on doors anywhere in the state, encouraging referendums to be defeated? Why? Braun lies about everything. And I said, if you sign this bill, you are going to do the worst thing imaginable for homeowners, for taxpayers. And I said, get ready, Bal, because in the fall of 26, you're going to see referendums all over the state. Oh, no, we don't think that. No, we don't think that. And then they told me, you've got to go defeat them in your community. I said, so you're going to sign a bill that your thing now is, we'll go beat a referendum, Rob. But I've already beat a referendum. I said, right now in my school district, I don't have to worry about a referendum. If you do this, I will. Why would that be good for me? Well, you beat it before. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for the uplifting pep talk, Mr. Governor. And that brings us to the article today from the Indiana Capitol Chronicle, in which our lawmakers are either the dumbest people alive or they simply don't care. Because we were screaming about this when they were voting on the property tax bill, telling them this was going to happen. You guys listen to me every day. You know I'm telling you the truth. Every day we were hammering this, that the biggest stab in the back of all is going to be that you guys are allowing these referendums to continue. So for almost no savings, we're now going to be everybody's going to be facing their school district running for a referendum. Why? Because the schools believe they're entitled to your money. The schools believe they're entitled to the money. They're not willingly going to accept revenue reduction. It would be one thing if you said, we're going to give you $300 back and we're going to cut off the ability for any school system to do a referendum. Okay, now you have my attention. That's not what they did. And we said, if you sign this bill, if you vote on this bill, if you approve this bill, every school district in our state is eventually going to go in the near future for a referendum. Dun-da-da-da. From the Indiana Capitol Chronicle. The Indiana Coalition for Public Education estimates as many as 100 public school districts could ask voters for new money through local property tax referendums this fall. Ha! If only someone could have predicted that. If only someone could have warned the governor about that. If only someone could have told the General Assembly that was going to happen. Again, the General Assembly has enabled this by rolling over time and again and playing dead for the public school systems, for the public education system. They have given the schools essentially unlimited power whenever they don't like whatever money they get to put it on the ballot and force people to fight for their property tax caps. And it's a rigged system because they can use school resources to pass the thing. I know. I've beaten one where they use $60,000 of public money to try to pass the thing. Plus the Political Action Committee, which is funded by the construction companies that'll win in the end. Then you can, let's say it's a teacher pay referendum. You can activate all the teachers in your community on their free time to go out there and knock on doors. So now the fight is we can use X amount of public dollars to pass this referendum. We can form a political action committee and we can get whatever conveniently generous local merchants to give us money. Oh, and we can activate our school employees on their free time. But sure, that's a really fair system that, a small organization of 10 people should be expected to defeat. Right. Now, their excuse now is, well, we've made it so that they can only have the referendums on even years in general elections. Shoot, thanks. Thanks for all the favors you did us. The schools believe they're entitled to the money. It's their attitude. I've been around it for 20 years. I've seen it almost everywhere I go. And if you're not going to give it to them willfully, they'll take it from the community. And Braun and the Republicans have allowed this to happen with the property tax bill. 100 school systems. There's only 92 counties, guys. That's more than one per county this fall. On average, that's more than one per county. Now, the public school system, this is what's interesting in this article. And it goes back to what I said about the public school systems believing they're entitled to the money. The Indiana Coalition for Public Education estimates it will cost the public schools, Senate Enrolled Act 1, $744 million through 2028. Cost. We'll come back to that. This is what one of the attorneys, general counsel for the Indiana Coalition for Public Education said, quote, when you adjust for inflation, we are actually spending at least $100 less per student now than we did 16 years ago. That was the purpose of the property tax caps, dumbass. The people said in 2008, our homes are not your personal piggy banks. You have taken enough from us. We're done here. The whole purpose of the property tax caps, which were overwhelmingly put into the Constitution by voters of the state of Indiana, not just the General Assembly, not once but twice, but the voters of the state of Indiana, was that you have too much money. Nothing makes me angrier than watching some local government, be they a town, a city, a county, or a school system, or even the library, whine about lack of money. The revenue reduction. That is why it was put in place. You have too much money. It's not yours. It's ours. You're lucky to have any of it. Just say thanks for what you get and make it work. The same way we have to do on the show, the same way every other business has to do. We don't get to call our sponsors and go, hey, you didn't pay enough. I'm taking 500 more. That ain't how it works anywhere but in the government. But they believe they're entitled to the money. Now, look, my issue with the property tax bill isn't that there's less money going to the school systems or the towns or the cities. It's that most of the reduction went to the businesses instead of the people. The people, the homeowners, should be getting this money because the whole system sucks. In the end, it ended up being a giveaway to big business because that's what the Indiana Republican Party always does. They screw people and they give money to their business buddies because that's who writes checks to their reelection campaigns. Now, let me tell you about what's about to go down in Brownsburg, because there is never a reason for a school referendum, and I've said this for years. And we're about to do something in our town, well, it's more in our town, our townships are involved with it as well, that proves this. And I've talked about this for years. Referendums are always unnecessary. They're a money grab, and they're done by lazy people who don't want to work. That's what referendums are. They're a bailout for lazy people who don't want to do their jobs. There's always a way. There's plenty of money in these communities. There's plenty of money. And so the town of Brownsburg, along with the townships, is working with the school system. I've talked about this pretty much this entire time we've had this show, about the process of it. And I think it's about to be completed. And watch, Rob Kendall's about to say something nice about Brownsburg government. Hot damn. But this should be a blueprint for other school districts and communities if they actually give a crap about their taxpayers. And the school system is working with the town and the townships on a revenue sharing agreement that will allow them, with a commitment from the school system, to not seek a referendum for the next several years. And the school system has said publicly they believe there's going to be some changes to the school funding formula that will benefit them, that will pretty much indefinitely make it so they don't have to seek a school referendum. No, look, don't kid yourselves. I'm not saying that the Brownsburg school system is some bastion of taxpayer advocacy. Like, we're not pretending that. They tried to steal $100 million a decade ago. And what happened? It was like in that cartoon, you know, where Bugs Bunny take the paddle and bend Elmer Fudd over and hit him with it after he pulls his pants down. That was me to the school system. They don't want to go through that again. They know there's a 50-50 shot. That's how it's going to end up again, and they'll get nothing. So, I'm not saying there's some. This is not tax cut-a-palooza over here. They want the money. But what they realized is there's a 50-50 shot. We're not going to get anything if we go that route. Rob, to the dismay of many, still lives in our community. Most of our team that we had 10 years ago is still living in the community. And people are more pissed off about property taxes today than they were then. So the school system, to their credit, sat down, came up with some ideas on how the towns and the township and the school system could work together to fund some of the things they want funded or would have funded with the referendum and keep everybody inside the property tax cap. And it looks like that's about to go forward. That's, I don't know if it's good government, because I operate from the standpoint, I don't think they ever needed the money to begin with. But in terms of the cards the school has to play, the power the school system has to play, based on the ability afforded to them by the General Assembly, that's the right thing for them to do, and they deserve to be commended for that. And the town, now look, never underestimate Brownsburg town government's ability to screw something up. So nothing's done until it's done. But at least for now, the town appears to be on board with that until they cast their vote to do it, and the townships. And so my point is, that can be done in every community. Every community right now, your town and township government should be meeting with your school system, and in a unified voice should be saying, we oppose referendums. People have paid enough in property taxes. People have given and done enough. They did it in our community, and they deserve a lot of credit for it. They can do it in your community. There's never a need for tax increases, ever. Ever, never, ever a need for tax increases. Referendums are a bailout of the lazy and the uncreative. We need to stop doing them. They need to be stopped altogether by the General Assembly. Not just, you can only have them in even years in the fall elections. It's not enough. It's my home. I bought it. I pay. And I've paid you guys enough, local governments. And so is everybody else hearing my voice right now. And so is everybody else across the state. By the way, you notice when the school referendums fail, all the people who said it's the only way, they never voluntarily pay more money. You guys ever notice that? Like if you have a school referendum and it fails, all these do-gooders on Facebook, you should ask them. I ask that all the time over the years in my community. How much did you pay? How much extra did you pay? The school system won't turn it down. I promise you. I promise you if you went to them with the extra tax money you would have had to pay at a referendum pass, they won't turn it down. The answer is zero. Nobody does it. Why? Because a lot of it is grandstanding. It's look at me. Look at how liked I am in the school system or in the community. It's virtue signaling. Remember that? Fox News, remember Bernie Sanders when he was running for president? This must have been 2020. That's the last time Bernie Sanders ran for president, right? They asked Bernie Sanders, they said, if you're so mad about the tax code and how millionaires don't pay enough money because you're a millionaire, why don't you just voluntarily pay extra taxes? You know what he did? He literally scoffed at them. Like literally, because he had no answer for it. Any millionaire, billionaire, poor person, whatever, middle class, anybody wants to pay extra taxes, the government will not deny you the ability to do that. I promise you they'll find a way to take it and do something with it. Does anybody ever actually do that? No, because they don't really believe in the government. They believe in power. They believe in power. If they really believed the government was doing good with the money, they would give it. They believe in power and control. So if you are, you guys need to be thinking about it right now. School system's got to pass these referendum votes to get them to the ballot by the end of June. I would get moving on that in your community. I would be calling your school system. I'd be calling your town government. I'd be calling your township government, your city government, your county government. I'd be demanding to find out what they're doing. And if they're pondering a referendum, everybody's got to be working together to stop these things. It's time to put the taxpayers first. They're doing it in my town. Pending votes. I guess nothing's decided until it's decided. All right, hey, already talking with a lender. Speaking of homeowners, it never hurts to get a second opinion. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage works with home buyers and homeowners throughout central Indiana, helping them purchase homes, investment properties, refinance on consolidated debt through their mortgage when it makes sense. Gary believes the right mortgage strategy can make a big difference over time. Do you have questions or not sure where to start? Visit loansbygary.homes. Loansbygary.homes to learn more. You got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment. Call for a free no-obligation quote, 317-695-5179. 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow in MLS, number 179207 with Verity Mortgage. In MLS, number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender. Okay, we'll take a break. When we come back, we will talk about my column in the Indy Star. And the people that are big mad because I've had the audacity to say there is more at play on these Senate incumbents going down than just redistricting. We'll tell you about the column. We'll tell you about the facts of the three races Trump and Turning Point won, and most of all, the different outcomes they had and why it was not redistricting. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Is your driveway showing signs of wear? Freeze-thaw cycles, road salt, environmental buildup like mold and dirt can all cause unsightly damage that can end up in an expensive repair. That's where Seal Now comes in. Seal Now are the clean, seal, and stain professionals that can help you protect your outdoor surfaces. Got a worn-out fence or deck? They can revive the look while providing long-term protection. Call today, 317-548-2002, or visit sealnow.com. Not only will you get a free estimate, but mention you heard about Seal Now on the Rob Kendall Show and receive 20% off any long-term sealing project.
Hi, I'm Lauren Wilson, a realtor with App Properties. Born and raised right here in Central Indiana and a Hoosier through and through. Selling your home is a massive undertaking, and I completely understand what that is. That's why when you work with me, we put a great plan together to make sure that when your home comes to the market, it is in the best light possible. Again, I'm Lauren Wilson, 317-590-2290. 317-590-2290. Let's put a plan together and get your home sold.
Hey guys, welcome back. Rob Kendall Show. Thanks for a great week, man. It's just been awesome. Been awesome. The growth. You guys have been amazing. Help us keep getting the word out. Number one thing you do right now, hit the like button. We are still under 200 likes for today's show. That is unacceptable. Look, we give you all this entertainment for free. All we ask is you hit the like button. Help us out. Hit that little thumbs up. Like our program. Really helps us out with YouTube and the algorithm. Also, like I said, if you're going to join us on June the 27th, don't wait to get your tickets. The Rob Kendall Live Show, a celebration of you guys, chance to get everybody together and just say thanks for an amazing start to this little program. You know, I was thinking, thinking about this the other day. There was a time in this business, and Jason will back me up on this, where it's amazing, like the arc of media. There was a time in this business where they used to not fire people who should have been fired in radio because they were petrified you'd walk across the street to the competition and hurt them. Like there were guys who used to get, I'm talking in the 70s and 80s, who were making a lot of money. Maybe they're making too much money, maybe not worth what they were getting paid. Never got fired. Why? Because there was a time when the radio business was a massive deal that they were petrified the guy'd walk across the street and harm them. We'll go work for the competition. And then in the 90s, after the consolidation stuff started happening and radio jobs started getting harder and harder to get and fewer, and the mergers and the megacorps and everything, then it was like, we fire whoever we want. There ain't no jobs because 3 companies own all the radio stations. Ha ha! And that was sort of the trend for a couple decades where, hey, you're out, you're done. Like we erase you. We take you out. You work for what we say to work for. You have seen an immense depression of wages in the radio industry. You've seen depression of benefits. You've seen all of it. Radio industry, and it's not Indianapolis, it's everywhere. We've talked about this before. TV is the same way. It's a dying industry. The megacorps came in and took over, and good people stopped going in to the business. They stopped being a part of all of it. They go other ways. And so there was a long time where if you worked in radio and you got fired, you were done. Unless you wanted to go to another market, you were basically toast, at least for a period of time. But now, thanks to these platforms, that isn't the case anymore. There was an article, I forget where the publication who had it, but it was talking in depth about how specifically newscasters, TV people, are now going in to the online thing. They're going it solo. Is what I talked about when all the RTV6 people got let go. I said, look, there's a platform out there. We're proof, right? Individual content, people going out on their own, it works. It does. If you do it right, if you put the effort into it, it's not easy. We found it's not easy. You got to work. You got to work really hard. But it's not getting fired in this industry in a death sentence it used to be. And you guys are the reason for me that I've been allowed to keep doing this. Look, if nobody watched, nobody would advertise. If nobody advertised, we wouldn't be doing it. You guys have given to us in so many ways the last 10 weeks that I can't even begin to thank you enough for allowing me to continue to have this and this career and be able to do this and keep these lights on and get the studio made and take care of Jason. That's most important. Take care of Jason.
High maintenance.
Yeah, he demands a lot. But the point is, you don't have to go away anymore. The corporations don't have control anymore. They do to an extent, right? Like they do to an extent. They can decide whether you work there. They can hire you. They can fire you. You work there on their terms. But if you think outside the box, if you see outside the walls that have been put around you, you realize you can do what now nobody can do what we do because there's only one me. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying you're seeing this with the investigative journalists, with the individuals that are doing this, with these sorts of people that are covering the State House. Look at who covers our State House, our government now. The top, I mean, the Star obviously is there. They're still working. They're a corporation. But then you get into like the Capitol Chronicle, which is a nonprofit. They arguably do the best coverage of anyone of the State House. They're a nonprofit. You look at individuals, Adam Wren, Abdul, others that are these, freelance journalists, the Tom LaBianco type guys. They're the new people breaking news. And it works on our side too. But it only works if you have a loyal audience. And you guys have been just amazing the past 10 weeks. And so that's what we're kind of trying to do with the live show is an opportunity to bring everyone together. You guys have created your own friendships, your own little families over there in the YouTube chat, which is why we started it. And that's one of the things I really believed in is I believed in that YouTube chat. And I wanted to engage in that YouTube chat a lot more than ever happened at the old place. And I believed what is happening here could happen through YouTube. You guys are gangbusters over there. You're awesome. And I believed in that for a long time, that could be just a little pot of gold in terms of bringing our listeners in and together. And you guys have created that. And so that's what our live show is about, the 27th, is bringing people together, getting to meet some people you've never met before, celebrate the show, celebrate the community. And so join us. You can get the tickets a couple different ways. One, if you just go to robkendallshow.com, we've got the link up right there. Don't wait, guys. We said this the last time, and it came true, and we're saying it again. The tickets go fast. And the way the setup's going to be this time, I don't think we're going to be able to, I can't say it for sure, but I don't think we're going to be able to print any more tickets once they're gone. And so don't wait. If you want to join us, we'd love to have you with us. I'd love to meet you in person. All the lower level, the VIPs, they're all getting to meet and greets this time. So you closer to the stage and the meet and greet. That is one of the things I wanted to do, and I want to talk with John from Mad Hatter about doing another show when he kind of said he wanted to do that. I said, I want to say thank you to more people this time because that's what this show is going to be all about, is my ability to give back to you guys, to say thanks for helping me be able to stay in this thing that I love. So get your tickets. Come join us. Hang out with us. June the 27th, Mad Hatter Comedy Club. You can go to robkendallshow.com. We got the link up there. madhattershows.com, MADHATTER shows.com as well. And join us. Okay, we're going to get to this article I wrote in the Star. But before I do that, hey, guys, here's something that most homeowners don't realize. When your house was built, there's a good chance that bathroom fan was the cheapest option available to the builder. Afterthought, it's got to be there. I'll throw it up. They'll never know the difference. That means it could be undersized, poorly vented, and not really designed to handle the amount of moisture your bathroom produces. And that's a big deal. It may sound like a small thing, but over time it can lead to big problems. Moisture in your walls, cracks, moisture in the attic, mold, all sorts of things that can be very expensive propositions down the road. Lucky for you, you can make one call, cut it off at the pass, take care of it. See if you even have a problem to begin with. Go to ventsavvy.com. 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 And they've got some tips and some tricks and everything else to make sure your vent is working properly. Make sure your fan is doing what it's supposed to do. Then maybe you can determine it for yourself. But if you can't, that's where Vent Savvy comes in. But they're going to give you some opportunities to do that just by heading over to Vent Savvy, VENTSAVVY.com. A few minutes could potentially save you a lot of money down the road. Okay, let's talk about this column in the Indy Star. And people are angry on the Trump side because I've had the audacity to suggest that redistricting wasn't the reason that incumbents lost. And it's fascinating to me that it's like, I get that it's the internet. So it's like you have to just take it all with a grain of salt and you have to chuckle at it. But people are outraged, and I keep asking people that are mad, have you read the article? No. So you just want to be mad based on the headline. Like, we just see something, the immediate approach is outrage. We're not even reading. It's not like they read the article and it's like, hey, I disagree with you on blank. Because I think if you read the article, you're going to have a hard time disagreeing with the facts of any of it. And so what I did in this article, but we're so polarized now, where anything that doesn't agree with my guy, you're just on the other team. Anytime you don't agree with my guy or everything my guy says, you're just on the other team. And I started with the premise of, it's great these incumbents lost. They deserve to lose. Kind of sort of wish more of them had, like as in all of them. But then I factor in some of the people they were running against, and then I go, well, maybe I don't. But the reality is, if you look at, so here's what I did to try to prove this point. I took the 3 most high-profile elections on the Senate side this primary season. And I based that on the attention, the turning point that Trump paid to them, the money that was spent, the media attention, all of those things. And it does it mean definitively these were the 3 most high-profile around redistricting? No. Look, I mean, there was the one like Liz Brown, which was a lot of money, but it wasn't about redistricting. Nobody said it was about redistricting. She voted for redistricting. So when I talk about the most high profile, I'm talking about the races that were centered around candidates who voted against redistricting. And those to me, and if someone wants to argue they weren't, I'm willing to hear it. I haven't heard any pushback on this. They were Travis Holdman in Northeast Indiana, the head of tax and finance. They were Spencer Deary in Lafayette and Greg Good in Terre Haute. And if you look at each of those races, the reason they were the most high profile, Nikki Kelly backed me up with this yesterday, that they were the most high profile. It's all out of hatred and revenge. And let me tell you who these people are and what they represented. Holdman was Bray, because Holdman was one of Bray's top guys, Rod Bray, the head of the Senate. They couldn't get Bray this election cycle because he's not up. So they said, we'll go after your guys. And Holdman was the top lieutenant to Bray running. He was the head of the tax and fiscal policy in the Senate. Very powerful. So getting Holdman was about getting Bray. Spencer Deary. By the way, Spencer Deary is extremely conservative on a whole bunch of stuff. Socially, extremely conservative, extremely pro-life. Voted against the property tax bill. You know what Spencer Deary's great sin was? He was a product of Mitch Daniels. He's a Mitch Daniels guy. It wasn't about his voting record other than redistricting, but the Banks people hate Mitch Daniels. Where did a lot of the dark money come from? It was the Banks affiliated group. Banks hates Mitch Daniels. Go all the way back to 24. Was it 24 when Banks was running for Senate? Who did he think he was going to have to run against? Mitch Daniels, and he blew a gasket before Mitch Daniels had even declared anything. Mitch Daniels didn't say he was running, and they went on. I'd never seen this before. They went on an offensive against a guy who wasn't even running for Senate. You guys remember how mean they were to Mitch Daniels? Because they were worried Mitch was going to run and win. And they still see Mitch Daniels as some sort of weird threat. Look, we've talked about many of the things Mitch Daniels did that I don't agree with. I think how they funded Lucas Oil Stadium was horrible. But I think if you look at where Mitch Daniels had the state when he started versus when he left, he did a lot of good things in terms of reforming the government. There's certainly things he did that I don't agree with. But Spencer Deary was a revenge tour on Mitch Daniels. So Holdman was in a revenge tour on Bray, a vendetta against Bray. Spencer Deary was about Mitch Daniels, and Greg Good from Terre Haute works for Todd Young. So that was their middle finger to Todd Young. That's who they targeted. But the target of these guys and the manner in which they targeted them was about far more than just their vote on redistricting. It was who they represented. Now, again, and I told Greg Good this on the phone. I've talked to Greg Good a couple times. He seems like a very nice guy. I told him, I said, I'm not going to, because he had reached out about running ads, right? Obviously, he ran. By the way, who's the one guy who not only survived but ran away with it? Greg Good. Where'd he run ads? Right here. Thank you. Thank you. The one guy who easily won ran ads on our show. Oh, you can say that's a coincidence. I don't think so. When he called about running the ads, I said, well, you seem like a nice enough guy. I said, I'm not going to hold your employer against you. Right? And he had a good chuckle about that. And look, my opinion on Todd Young is not changing. And by the way, if you're a political candidate for the fall, we take everyone's money equally. We don't, libertarian, independent, Greg Ballard, I'm looking at you. Republican, Democrat, Bo, bye. You got 10 million. You're going to have 10 mil. We're here. We take all the candidates, whether you're county commissioner, county council, state senate, U.S. Congress, whatever. That's we believe in free speech. And by the way, look at all the votes Piper got. You know what his only essential advertising was? This show. Piper got 9% of the vote. That's amazing. You can think that's all coincidence, or you can think, hey, there's a lot of engaged people who watch this program every day. 60 plus minutes is our average listening time, viewing time per viewer. But the point was, that's why they targeted these three guys more than some of the others in the high-profile fashion. They wanted to send a message to Bray, they wanted to send a message to Mitch Daniels, and they wanted to send a message to Todd Young. And so what I did in this article is I said, okay, I want to determine whether we can accept or reject the premise that redistricting was the reason all of these incumbents lost based on the three most high-profile races. And when you look at the three most high-profile races, in terms of money, attention, etc., around redistricting, all three of those races had very different results. Holdman got smoked. Good smoked the competition. And Spencer Deary, look, he's winning right now. I think it's by 4 votes. There's a hearing on Monday. But for all intents and purposes, it's a draw, right? So you have the whole spectrum of these races that were all about redistricting. The three most high-profile races spanned the gauntlet. One guy lost overwhelmingly. One guy won overwhelmingly. One guy played to for all intents and purposes, a draw. And what I try to do in this article is walk through each of these races, who these candidates were, who these incumbents were, who their opposition was, and why the races went they did. And when you start working through the actual on-the-ground stuff, and by the way, throughout these races, I was talking to a lot of people on the ground, people who were there. That's why we correctly predicted each of them. Look at it. We got them all right. We told you. Holdman going down. Buck going down. Walker going down. We told you I think Greg Good's going to win easily. He did. I told you I think Spencer Deary's going to win. As of right now, he is. Now, maybe those votes flip and he loses, but it was a draw, right? So we were pretty much spot on all of this because I have sources all over the state, and that's what they were telling me. And so in this article, I try to work through what I knew to be true about these districts. And in each of the cases, if redistricting had been the issue, they all would have lost. They all would have been Holdman. If they'd all been Holdman, I wouldn't have written the article. If they'd all been Holdman, I would have said, hey, man, boy, I misjudged that big time. Redistricting certainly brought Trump, which brought money, which brought resources, which enabled the issues that actually decided the election to be put out there. If redistricting were the end-all, be-all, Greg Good would have lost. He was the most vocal about being against it. He gave the great speech on the Senate floor. But he won. And we go into why Greg Good won. I'm not going to spoil it for you. You can read it in the article. Travis Holdman lost to a guy who quit in the middle of the race. The race wasn't about anybody Holdman was running against. It was about Holdman and a whole bunch of stuff that Holdman did that pissed off his district. Spencer Deary is like and again, I'm not going to spoil the article because I want you to read it, but the two differences spanning the distance between Good and Holdman is Spencer Deary in the middle, and his race is a virtual tie. And I was blown away at the response to this. Like, I go into detail in this article about specific things, the opponents, the issues, about why those districts went the way they did. And people got so mad at me. All the names, right? Now I'm a rhino. I'm a liberal. I'm a all the things now. Somebody called me a rich suburban rhino or something like that. Let me introduce you to my house. Like, all these years, and this is why I'm so concerned about the direction of our country. Not because somebody's mean to me. I don't care. Get in line. That is a long list, and people have been mean to me for years. But somebody like me has a 10-year track record of every day going in and talking about issues and talking about how they feel about things. And for years, I have been the most hated man in the establishment of the Republican Party. As in, they had a file on me at my work, guys. They've talked about it. Dion talked about it on the air one time. Like, we had the thing. Remember when Braun first got elected? They were so surprised that he's like, this is the longest I've ever gone without a complaint about you. And yet, because on one issue I have the audacity to go, no, here's what's on the ground happening. Here's why some of these people won. Here's why they lost. Now, all of a sudden, because of the absolutism that we live in, where you're all in or you're all out. You're all in and you swallow whatever misinformed crap we throw down your throat or you're dead to us. Now, suddenly, I'm some sort of establishment darling. Newsflash, those guys still hate me too. I'm just a stranger in a strange land, guys. Like I said, I was watching that documentary on Moses the other night, or last night, after he has to flee Egypt for doing the right thing. He has to, he flees Egypt. And he was concerned about his life, right? And I'm not running around saying I'm concerned about my life, but I am concerned that our country on both sides is so polarized that we are alienating ourselves. People are alienating themselves from somebody who goes, I'm kind of with you on most things. I do disagree on this, and I think it's important that we get this right. What about the Nope. You can't do that anymore. You can't have independent thought with these people. You can't look at them and go, I'm really concerned that you got rid of some people who needed to be gotten rid of, but the people you're putting in there, you're not making them stand for anything. I told you, the Terre Haute stuff, Brenda Wilson was like their fifth choice. They were begging people to run. At some point, they were just like, anybody, get on the ballot. That's not good enough for me. I told you, my friend, a very prominent person over in Terre Haute, they begged him to run. He doesn't vote. He doesn't vote in Republican primaries. He doesn't vote because he hates all the people. But they were like, you have a name. You can win. He's like, but I don't want to win. I like what I do now. Yeah, but you could win. We'll give you all this money. But I wouldn't even be qualified because I don't vote. They kept begging him to run. That's who they recruited. That was their recruitment process. The Feichter guy, Blake Feichter, who beat Holdman, had no idea until Trump tweeted his name one day. And then he was so bad at it, he quit in the middle of it. And they're like, hey, you're going to win. Just get back in the race. Come to the White House. Oh, okay. And Nikki Kelly laid out, this guy refused to talk to the media. You have no idea what he wants to do on anything. Is that what we're proud about? Is that what we're taking a victory lap over? I'm all for victory laps on getting rid of incumbents. Travis Holdman sucks. But now me saying Holdman sucks isn't good enough. I have to be 100% okay with whatever bad candidate you gave me who may suck even more when it's all said and done. That's not good. And so that's the article, Indy Star, if you want to read it. And we walk through these races and why they won and why they lost. And if you want to have an independent look at redistricting and the role it played in our elections and what happened with our elections, I think it's a pretty good piece. I'm pretty proud of it. Hey, is your driveway showing signs of wear? Freeze-thaw cycles, road salts, environmental buildup like mold and dirt can all cause unsightly damage that can end up in expensive repair. That's where Seal Now comes in. Your patio, your driveway, your sidewalks, all of those things can be at risk. And they'll clean it, seal it, stain it. That's what they do. They're pros. And by the way, they do a lot more than just concrete. They do decks, they do fences, they do pergolas. Any exterior concrete or wood outdoor structure that needs cleaned or maintained, Seal Now, they're your guys. Visit sealnow.com, SEALNOW.com. You can see there the work they do, some of the projects they brought back to life, some of the things they brought back to life. Then you can also get an idea what yours is going to cost, get a totally free estimate at sealnow.com. And best of all, if you mention, hey, I heard about you guys on the Rob Kendall Show, you're going to get 20% off any long-term ceiling project. Free estimate, 20% off any long-term ceiling project, and see how your project might look at sealnow.com. Just mention you heard about them on the Rob Kendall Show. All right, got a little bit more to get to, and then everybody's favorite part of the day. Producer Jason going to read the best YouTube comments brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. A lot of great comments today. You guys are rocking as always. We'll talk about it next. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
If authentic wood-smoked barbecue is your thing, Double D's Barbecue in Clayton is the place for you. Owners Dennis and Tina Duncan, along with their son Garrett, are from Memphis. So when it comes to barbecue, they're not screwing around. No pellet smokers, no roasters, just authentic wood-smoked Memphis-style barbecue. All of Double D's food is cooked fresh daily, and it's all made from scratch. Double D's Barbecue, located at 40 and 39 in Clayton, is open all day Wednesday through Saturday, but get there early because once they're sold out, they're done. Check out the full menu, ribs, brisket, and more at ddbbq317.com.
Buying a home or thinking about refinancing? Work with someone local who understands the central Indiana market. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps homebuyers and homeowners explore options for purchasing, refinancing, or even consolidating higher interest debt through their mortgage. Gary's approach is simple, clear advice, and personalized guidance so you can make confident decisions. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more or get started today. You've got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment. So call for a free, no-obligation quote, 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow, NMLS number 179207 with Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender.
With a lakefront view in beautiful Brazil, the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage is a little out of the way, but totally worth the trip. Down home, made from scratch food, just like the good old days at Grandma's. When you visit the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage, you'll leave more at peace than when you came in. Open 5 to 8 for dinner on Friday and Saturday, and Sundays 11 to 1:30 for the buffet. You must experience the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage. Call 812-443-3003. 812-443-3003.
Your bathroom fan could be secretly costing you thousands of dollars in damages. Most people don't even know this until the damage is done. With over 18 years of bathroom remodeling experience, here are 3 signs your fan is failing you without spending a dime on inspections. Sign number 1 is if you have foggy mirrors after you shower. This shows that your fan isn't pulling out enough moisture, which creates the perfect environment for mold. If you have a properly functioning bathroom fan that is the right size for your space, you shouldn't see much fogginess on your bathroom mirror at all. Sign number 2 is if you have bubbling, cracking, or peeling paint in your bathroom. This means moisture is soaking into your walls, slowly breaking down drywall, and even causing the wood framing behind it to rot. Sign number 3 is if you have mold buildup on your fan, ceilings, or walls. This is terrible for your health, but also could wreck your bathroom, costing you a fortune. If you're noticing any of these signs, here's what you can do.
Call Vent Savvy today at 317-300-4434. That's 317-300-4434, and mention Rob for a free attic inspection.
Welcome back. Rob Kendall Show. Coming up here just a little bit. Jason's going to have the best YouTube comments of the day brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. I noticed during the break, we're 2,800 subscribers now. That's freaking awesome. We are closing in on 3K. Remember the big victory dance we had at 2K? Now we're closing in on 3K. It's never enough for us. But again, if you haven't done so yet, hit that little thumbs up button, like our feed, subscribe to the channel. Stay a while. If you're new, welcome. Great to have you with us. We do primarily Indiana news and politics and government, Sometimes now we weave in some national stuff as well, but we give you content you're not going to get anywhere else. Couple of other notes. Again, share the feed, put it out there. If you got a Facebook, you got a Twitter, let people know about us. Okay, a couple of reminders, and then we'll be getting to the YouTube chat. Don't forget, we have a support button over at robkendallshow.com. Have you checked out robkendallshow.com? It's a pretty kick-ass little website. And one of the things we have up there is a support button. If you like what we do, if you enjoy this program, if you're like, I shouldn't be a freeloader and not contribute, hit that support button. $1, $10, whatever it is. We're so grateful to everyone and every person that's been a part of us. Literally, probably over 1,000 people now have been a part of that, contributing and helping us out. And it's just a great family and club we have here. Maybe not quite 1,000, but certainly hundreds and hundreds of people. Thanks again to William and Mark and Ivan and Nicholas and Debbie and Joseph for all supporting the show and being a part of it with us and helping out. You guys are awesome. And when you support the show, you get an email back from me saying thanks. That's priceless. And you get your name. I try to read all the names here on the program as well. Also, speaking of robkendallshow.com, if you want to join us June the 27th, that's the place to get the tickets. Mad Hatter Events Show. That's going to be an awesome summer night, Saturday. Just a chance for everybody to get together. We got the link up, robkendallshow.com, to get your tickets, and you can join us there for an evening of fun and happiness. Before we get to producer Jason with the best YouTube comments of the day, buying a home is the biggest investment you'll ever make, but it's about so much more than just a price tag. It's about your next chapter. When you work with Lauren Wilson, her goal is to make sure you feel 100% confident in the entire thing. Whether you're buying, whether you're selling, whether you're buying and selling. Lauren Wilson, she is your advocate. That's what she wants to be, your friend. I told you the other day, I was talking with Lauren, and she was telling me about how she talked somebody out of a house. And I was like, you did what? She's like, yeah, I talked them out of a house. It's like, didn't that cost you money? She's like, oh, yeah. I was like, how much? She's like, you don't want to know. But I said, well, why'd you do that? She goes, because I didn't feel like it was the right house for them. Getting to know the client. She's like, I just knew a couple years from now they weren't going to be happy, and I got to look myself in the mirror, and I got to know my clients leave happy. And that's what Lauren Wilson does. That's the sort of white glove professional service, hands-on experience you're going to get with Lauren Wilson. Give her a call. Get to know her. Tell her your circumstances, what you're doing, what you want to do, what you're thinking about doing. It could be years from now, but that way you got a game plan in place. Lauren Wilson with At Properties, 317-590-2290, 317-590-2290. And with that, we bring in producer Jason.
Hello, Rob.
Start
How
the
we
show.
doing today?
I'm great. We got tons of great chats today, so I wanted to give a little extra time. A lot of people bringing the smoke on a whole bunch of different things. And for those of you who aren't familiar, welcome if you're new. We have a great YouTube chat community. At the end of each show, producer Jason reads some of his favorite comments. It's brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. And in order to be a part of that, all you got to do, subscribe to the channel. That's it. That's all you got to do. You can get in the YouTube chat, you can comment, behave like a member of decent society, and then you're a part of the thing. Maybe you get your comment read on the show.
That is correct, Rob. And the chat brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to the plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. Black Sheep Plumbing can do the job right at a fraction of the cost of the big guys. And Black Sheep Plumbing says thank you to all military, firefighters, and police officers with an American Heroes discount. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly to John, the owner. 765-315-7558, 765-315-7558, Black Sheep Plumbing.
All right, what do we got? Who's going to make me happy today?
I tell you what, we're going to start today. We're going to skip later in the show to the John Rust interview.
Oh, that was great. Yeah, so Rust was with us earlier. Of course, we wanted to say thanks to John for providing it, making it possible for us to do the third hour. And then I wanted to talk to him a little bit about the ballot access stuff, because obviously he went through that legal entanglement, and I just it was a civil suit. I was like he was like on the run from the law. But I just thought he'd be one I wanted to say thank you, because I know our audience wanted to thank him as well. And what a great guy. What an awesome dude that supports this show.
All right, we start with Nicholas Kurtz at Mr. Billboard Guy. Thank you. Kevin Branham, good morning, John Rust. Thank you for your support. Debbie Holcomb, Mr. Rust, you rock. Thank you. Drain the Swamp. We'll let Judge... Oh, okay, wait a minute. That's something else. Sorry. Vanita Christensen. Thank you, John Rust. Spray Jockey. Thanks, John. You see the theme we're going with here, but I still want to lay it on thicker.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lars Eve. This is a good man.
Yes.
Speaking of John Rust. Mad Duck. That's ridiculous. Who's making all that money off your eggs? He does seem to be getting screwed on that somehow, doesn't he?
Well, he told me this.
3 years of losses for 1 year of profit?
Well,
Man, that's tough.
He told me this a long time ago. He's like, man, people think that there's like a gajillion dollars in this egg business. And he's like, there's really not.
Well, somebody's making money, but it doesn't seem to be the growers.
Yeah.
All right. Kerry Thompson, please run against Todd Young.
That would be fun because I don't think they could kick Rust off the ballot now because he's got the 2 primary votes.
Lars Eve. If he runs, we all got to work his campaign.
Yes. Hear that, Rust? People love Rust.
Yep. Drain the Swamp. No wonder he lost. Way too sensible for people who vote for Braun. Debbie Holcomb. We will all campaign for Rust. Josh Richardson. Thank you, John. Kevin Branham. John Rust for Senate. Steve Green with an E. Great segment, Rob. The Old Man. Mr. Rust. You've got the support of the Robbleheads.
That's right.
Jan Hatch, thank you, Mr. Rutch, Mr. Rust. Could be Jan Hatch. Could be like a 500-pound Swedish guy. We're going to go with Jan. Kerry Thompson, the John Rust time is a great moment of truth and respect to taxpayers and the show.
Yeah, and this thing about Rust, like he gets nothing out of making it possible for us to get the third hour. Like he's genuine. Like he's not selling anything. He's not like doesn't want anything. He was just like, I called him and said, we were talking about
Didn't even want to do the interview, really.
No, he was like, we had to basically beg him to come up
make
here.
It about me.
He was, because we were talking about a bunch of other stuff, and I told him, here's what we're thinking about doing, blah, blah, blah. He's like, okay, I'll do it. I was like, what? Yeah, I'll make it possible. Don't worry about it. So, I mean, like, he's not selling anything. You're not seeing any ads for him. He just genuinely loves making you guys, we always talk about, like, if you had wealth, what would you do with it? Mm-hmm. Rust is one of those guys who's just like,
give Rob Kendall money.
I just want to make people happy, and he knows how much you guys enjoy this program.
And we encourage you to check out his radio show on 95.9.
That's right. Got me a call. I left it at home.
I'm not sure what time that airs on the weekend.
Yeah, he said it in the okay. And it's on Tuesday mornings as well. Yep. On 95.9.
I see it on the internet. So.
I forgot it. I have a coffee mug that I'll add as one of the new toys up here.
All right, Charles Luty. Thank you, sir. Joseph Norris, John Rust for governor. Young Kim Young, thank you, John Rust. K-Pot 7, thank you, John. Kevin Branham, he's so cool, calm, and collected, I think he would do well. Debbie Holcomb, Mr. Rust would make a tremendous governor. Kevin Branham, he would destroy Braun.
That would be fun to see all of. Here's the thing, though. So we have 2 options next year, 2 years from now. Mm-hmm. We could have Rust money destroy Todd Young, or we could have Rust money destroy Braun. I don't know who I'd want destroyed more, because he can't run for both. You got to pick one.
John, just destroy somebody.
Yeah, come on.
All right, now we move to, and so again, thanks to John Rust, and the Robbleheads seem to love John, as do we. Now we move on to Rob going off the rails, the loudest I've heard Rob in 9 weeks.
Which one? Which thing?
That would be producer Jason's comment.
No, but which thing?
I don't know.
I think I yelled about a bunch of stuff today.
You cursed twice today.
I did.
People were keeping tabs on how often you cursed. I think there was an over-under going on, and somebody got the over 6 weeks. All right, Mad Duck. There's the Rob I love. McLovins off the rails. Steve Green with an E. Just got my tickets to the show.
Oh, excellent.
Ethan Hatcher. Rob just dropped some adult language on the table. I'm here for it. Charles Luty. Whoa, off the rails. Drain the Swamp. That's blue, Vic, but it is a winner.
Was that me? Was that directed at me?
Sometimes I read these out of context. John McKinney. Tickets bought. See you guys on the 27th.
Our fabulous sponsor of the YouTube chat is in the YouTube chat. John McKinney, you're awesome.
Almond Joy Tempo. Let that tapestry of a Let that tapestry of obscenities flow, Rob. Livy, you listening, sweetheart? Livy probably doesn't listen to the show.
My favorite
at daycare.
My favorite. No, I don't.
Let's turn Daddy on.
I don't want Livy. So
what is this?
Yeah,
that's why you shouldn't cut.
Livy. The crazy thing about Livy is she sees the show. Like, I've got one of those TV. What do they call them? Smart TVs. Is that what they're called? Like where it's hooked up to the internet.
Okay. Well, TV.
Yeah, but I mean, I think there's a name for it.
Okay, just a TV would probably.
I don't know. My wife handles the TV, but anyway, she'll be going through the stuff and whatever the subscriptions are and everything, and my face will pop up and she'll go, Dada?
Oh.
Dada? Dada? And then she won't get off of it. And so we have to play a little bit of it, like, so she'll get off of it to go back to Peppa Pig.
Have you played have you played one of your shows in half speed for her?
No, but that's hilarious.
Sounds like you're drunk.
I've got to do that.
It is hilarious.
You played it for me the other day. It's great.
It is hilarious. All right, continuing on. Vic Ferrari at Ethan. The under 6 months for no dirty words cashes. Under 6 months, not 6 weeks.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Andy Engel. Rob is mad.
I was very upset today. The direction of the country has me very concerned.
Josh Richardson. Rob bringing the smoke again. Love it. Charles Luty. Today's edition of RKS is not the family show. All right, let's go to and then it goes on and on where they all enjoyed your filthy language.
I screamed about a bunch of stuff today.
You said shit twice, so.
Yeah, but I screamed about a bunch of stuff.
All right.
They're just happy about that I said it twice.
First one in the chat today. The old man.
The old man.
Happy Friday, everyone. Let's finish the week strong. Rob and producer Jason. McLevins, good morning, old man. Kevin Branham, I hope Rob talks about the former Sheriff Kelly today. You did not do that.
Well, I'm going to. I'm saving that for last. Unless you go.
I'll give you a few minutes.
Oh, yeah, because unless you go, I just want to make sure, because I knew you had a bunch of chat.
I'm generous with my time that.
Yeah, no, we're going to talk about the corrupt sheriff is it Clinton County? I think that's where it is. Yes, it's on the agenda.
Right. C. Mills, good morning, all. On my way to Nebraska, but still listening.
Oh, C. Mills. What do you think C. Mills is doing in Nebraska?
He's a truck driver.
That's right. He is, isn't he? That's right. Mm-hmm. Forgot about that.
Spray jockey, I'm paying property taxes today. Yay. The old man 68, at Steve Green with an E. One of the first things I do when I log on to my computer at work is bring up the show so I don't miss it when it starts.
Oh, that's the way to do it.
That's how he's in the always first.
It's perfect.
Nicholas Kurtz. Producer Jason.
Oh, no.
Good morning, legend. Spray jockey at C. Mills. Stop paying attention to the road and focus on the chat. Spray jockey, good morning, all you Robbleheads. MLM Warriors, great starting right off the bat. Good job, Rob.
Thank you.
Great suggestion, producer Jason.
Oh, I see that I got right to the topic.
Yes, you did, and I was very proud of you today. You just launched right in. I think that should be the second segment's where you loosen up and all that.
No, I see what you're saying.
I think it works well.
Yeah, no, I got you.
It's noticed, by MLM Warriors. LD Stoltz, I believe we got a little more brick today. Set looks great, guys. I parted the curtains. And you kind of like Moses.
I do like the way that looks. I do like the purple.
Mm-hmm. It's getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still got some things to do, but it's I'm taking the weekend off.
Yep.
Not coming in. Kevin Branham. Well, that's because Ethan's not available. Kevin Branham, look at that beautifully pressed shirt.
Thank you. Yes, my mom. She was
Rob's mom
yesterday. She's like, I'm very concerned. I have not gotten your shirts this week. I was like, I have like 10 shirts left to wear. 10. I have like 10 shirts. So many shirts.
Speaking of Moses, you actually brought up Moses earlier.
Yeah.
We Want Wine, 1996. Moses sacrificed for others. I give you credit for doing that in your own way, Rob.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for giving me something other than TV news.
Yeah, we are different. I mean, I'm not trying to compare myself to Moses, but yeah, I've lost a lot for the betterment of humanity.
The old man at We Want Wine. I feel like WIBC was Rob's Egypt, and now he's refining his craft to do something on a bigger stage.
That's interesting. That's I've not had not thought of that. Yeah.
The old man also, Moses tended sheep for his father-in-law after he fled Egypt until he was called out of exile to perform a greater task. Look at the pattern, Rob.
Look, I want it for the record. Moses is one of the great characters in the Bible and the great characters in all of human history. I'm not in any way comparing myself like my accomplishments or anything to that. I'm just saying,
I don't
like,
think anybody's comparing you to Moses.
I'm going to get that out
you're
there.
Just doing some good things.
I'm mostly
for
making sure the big man upstairs knows that's what we're doing here.
The 06010 board. Is Rob wearing basketball shorts with that nicely pressed shirt?
Wear jeans.
No, Rob's got jeans on. Pam Kendall. Thank you, Spray Jockey. Love you guys. They were all talking about how well your shirt looks. Mom Kendall did a fantastic job. Kevin Branham, Jason at about 125 minutes. Would have been about 125 minutes ago.
Right.
Let's see. Kevin Branham. Rob, this is 10 times better than the radio show. Oh, and
can I tell you the biggest difference? And this is something I noticed the other day.
I'm here.
Well, yes. Jason has been around me so long and he knows me so well that like anything I do is just not like a big deal to him.
Right.
When I used to do the rants, like one of the things that would throw me off is like I would look over and I would just have a person staring at me like with wide eyes. Like,
you're going to get us in trouble.
Yeah, like, it's just like it never seemed like it changed. Like it was like after a year, you should not be uncomfortable with this. You should know where I'm going with this and probably help facilitate me. You should know what I'm doing and what I'm trying to do and help facilitate it. Jason's just like, whatever. Yeah.
Right. I'm going to go to the bathroom. If it goes off the air. Okay, continuing on. Vanita Christensen. 10 weeks already. Congrats.
50 shows.
Show number 50.
My sweet friend Jenny Barr sent me a fabulous congratulations on the 50th show.
Nifty. We turned 50. Mad Duck. Dude, you're smoking your old gig, and this is so much better. Call out them D-bag politicians and don't let up.
D-bag politicians.
Mad Duck. I want to make sure I
those D-bag politicians. Maybe we should get a shirt that says that. Those D-bag politicians.
That might be nice. Kevin Branham. Jason, the man with the velvet voice.
Well, that's because he had years of practice telling people to step up on stage.
Yes, I've been talking for years. Ethan Hatcher.
What was it? So-and-so's on stage. So-and-so's on deck.
Grab your glasses, grab your asses, guys. Hit that stage. Bambi coming to see ya.
Wasn't it?
Say hello.
Wasn't it
Butterfly?
Yeah, wasn't it like? But someone was you had to tell them to get up on deck or on stage on the.
Yeah. That'd be like what would that be like? Butterfly taking the stage, Barbie on deck.
On deck. That's what it was. Yeah, and
go back and sneak your drink and your drugs because you're up next. Can't say that on the air on the PA, but they knew the code. Okay. Ethan Hatcher, thanks for the shout-out, Rob.
I'll see Ethan tonight.
You got his check for him?
I have his check, and we're going to be social.
That's what he meant.
Oh.
He's showing up with my check. Hold that till Monday. Mad Duck. Dude, okay, here we go. Okay, Spray Jockey. Talking about the live show at Mad Hatter.
Yeah.
They sold out last time because of Hammer. This time, it'll sell out because of the legend.
Jason?
That would be who he's talking about.
Oh, that's you. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't attribute names to me. Spray Jockey, did Todd Rokita go to Wabash the same time as the Ultimate Warrior?
Well, the Ultimate Warrior did not go to Wabash. The Ultimate Warrior. So, for those of you who don't know, we have the Warrior figures up there. Figure up there now. Ultimate Warrior was from Crawfordsville. Ultimate Warrior did not go to Wabash. I also think Ultimate Warrior is quite a bit older. Well, he's no longer with us, but had he been, he would be quite a bit older than Todd Rokita. The Ultimate Warrior, I believe, went to Indiana State for a year, and then he ended up getting into bodybuilding and moved to Georgia. So the Ultimate Warrior did not go to Wabash.
Vic Ferrari, the Wild Cherry. No, it wasn't the Wild Cherry. Rob, do you remember what the name of the first gentleman's club that you entered illegally underage?
I do. It's no longer in existence.
It's in existence. It's not the same name.
Oh, it's not the same name.
Yeah. Do you remember?
Yeah. Well, let's see. I went to several.
You keep saying, but you.
Babes West. Right?
Babes West.
Yeah.
That is correct. 38th and Lafayette Road.
Right. On Christmas Eve, wasn't it?
It was Christmas Eve. I snuck Rob in.
Yeah.
He was hiding behind the DJ booth. I can't have anybody see me here because I may run for governor one day. Like, dude, the governor's in the back getting a lap dance from Tatiana. The mayor's got the whole place rented out tonight. We're closed because he's having his birthday party. His wife's out of town.
The one place I went, your friends kept coming up talking to me, and I was like, I'm not a client here. Like, I'm just here to see Jason. Like,
you've got such beautiful eyes. He has no money. Works in radio. Oh, okay.
It was like, I'm just here to drop something off to Jason. Like, I'm not a client.
Show's going into the toilet today. Ethan Hatcher's helping with that. I would love to hear Rob rant about politics after a bong rip.
What? Well,
happy to provide the supply anytime.
That was Ethan?
That was Ethan.
Yeah, I will never do drugs, guys. I'm sorry. I'm
Ethan
crazy enough as
waking and
it is.
baking today. What's
never done.
Rob has
drugs.
never taken a bong hit.
Never anything. None of the stuff. I've never
Don't you
done.
watch movies and think, wonder what that would be like?
No.
Okay.
I mean, like, I feel like in my world, I function fine in my own world, and I just, whatever.
Drake for America. I love the billboard advertisements.
Drake, Drake, also a trucker, super fan. Drake, great guy. Love Drake. I'm glad Drake was here today.
All right, continuing on, we go with Spray Jockey. But back to the farmers. Spray Jockey points out with John Rust, farmers are the only business that pays retail for goods and sells at wholesale.
That's a great point.
The middlemen make all the money.
That's a really good point.
What explains the whole egg thing.
That's a really good point.
And Drain the Swamp. Trying to understand how prices are set for farmers is mind-boggling.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, the farmers are the ones getting screwed.
Totally,
I would
100%.
say. All right, we're gonna wrap this up here. Mad Duck. Some people get mad when Rob yells, but some people can't be reached any other way.
That's right.
Wino Gina. Wineaux.
Yeah.
Wino, right? I don't know how else you would say that. Wino Gina. Love off the rails, Rob. I think we're going to leave it there with the Happy Mother's Day to my mother, to your mother, to everybody's mother.
We love Patty.
Patty Dozier, yes, she's a regular listener.
We love Patty.
Lets us know every day that she's logged in and ready to go, and lets us know the show's on the air. And
wasn't your mom like one of the main people with the Pacers fan club or something in the 70s?
Well, she wasn't a main person, but we were in the clique.
Yeah,
back in the let's see, they bought Pacer season tickets back in like maybe 1968, 69. The Pacers just started in the ABA back then. So the parents bought season tickets, and I was just a toddler.
Was it at the fairgrounds?
And it was at the fairgrounds, and we'd go, and then went to Market Square Arena, and they had the telethon.
Yeah.
I was on the TV.
Were you at the telethon? I
was on the clip. Yeah, we were there all night long. It was great. I think I won a bike or something.
So for those of you people, I assume most people know, but for those you don't, the Pacers were in real trouble in what was this, the late 70s or early 80s? Is that right? Is that
it would have been maybe the late 70s.
Yeah,
something
and
like that.
Slick Leonard and his wife organized a telethon to save the team, and they raised enough money that it ended up keeping the team afloat. Until obviously indefinitely. But
they should have just asked John Rust.
They should have, right? I wonder where Rust was then.
Well, he would have been a wee tot.
That's true, yeah.
Also, because
anyway, but I thought I remembered that your parents were like Pacers.
Yeah.
Fans.
So we had Market Square, had floor seats, and then it was great for many, many, many years. We were season ticket holders, the Pacers, and back in the good old days, the ABA with when they won championships.
Billy Keller,
when they were actually good. Billy Keller, Don Boozy, Nedelicki, Slick,
Mel
Daniels, George McGinnis, just all those guys.
Yeah.
That was great times.
And you saw those ABA games, so you saw some dudes, right?
We would take the fan bus to Freedom Hall, Louisville. And I was like really young. My brothers are both older than me, so they were more into it. I was just like along because they didn't have babysitters.
Oh, so all of you went.
Back then, you didn't have babysitters.
You had 5 season tickets?
Yeah. No. When we would go to the playoff games.
Oh, yeah.
Like 74, 75. I remember it was like.
So you were watching when they won all those championships?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a 73, 74, 75, those, and then, well, no, I'm sorry, they went to the NBA in 74 or 75? Yeah. No, because I remember the playoff series in 75, there was like the slogans was like when they played the Denver Nuggets, hang 'em high in 75. Oh, no, it was like San Antonio, hang 'em high in 75, and then they played Denver, so it was hang 'em a mile high in 75. It's amazing how long ago was that? My God. And I don't even know if I was I was in school then. So anyway, enough about my trip down memory lane, Rob. You've probably got a show to do here.
Yeah,
so
got a couple other things to get to. Thanks to Black Sheep
I'll
Plumbing.
let you do that.
Yeah,
so.
thank you.
All right. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. So long. See you Monday.
Masonry color mismatch, previous repair catching your eye. Not happy with the brick color on your home or ready for a total makeover? Bramwell Mackay Property Services and Consultants offer specialized masonry staining and recoloring. Whether you want to seamlessly blend repairs or completely transform your home's exterior, want to build something new? Bramwell Mackay's 40-year master masons design and construct custom patios and sidewalks, outdoor summer kitchens, archways, entryways, and a whole bunch more. Bramwell Mackay, BRAMWELLMCKAY, beauty built to endure. All right, a bunch you wanted to get me to get to this, and I will do this now. So there is another sheriff who's gone down for pilfering money out of the commissary. Now, unfortunately, Braun's buddy Tom Kleinhelter still runs around totally free for now. Till maybe Mears will finish the job. But so this was, what was this? I think this was Fox 59 where I got this story. So Richard Kelly, he was the sheriff of Clinton County. We've talked about this guy before on the show. And his wife, Ashley Kelly, was the county's former jail matron. So you guys remember, like we talked about this, the jail matron is basically like the woman boss at the jail. Somebody's got to deal with the female inmates. You can't have dudes doing certain stuff. So she's basically the woman boss at the jail. How corrupt is this? The only person she reported to? How rotten is this? In my understanding, the only person you report to is the sheriff. So you had the wife of the sheriff who was working under the sheriff, and that's who she reported to. That's unbelievable. And the fact that the county government allowed that to happen, shame on them. Like they're trying to play all naive and innocent here. Shame on them. You're the county commissioners, the council. You're supposed to oversee the money. Weren't you asking, like, what's going on here? So they have pleaded guilty after they were accused of using a company to receive payments from the jail's commissary fund. So this is basically the same thing that we saw with Kleinhelter on steroids with these two idiots. But basically, the money, the commissaries, the money people pay to buy stuff in the jail, candy bars, all sorts of things. And then that money is basically used at the discretion of the sheriff. And in the case of Kleinhelter, who was doing trips and other things. And in this case with these people, they were blatantly just taking advantage of taxpayer funds for personal use. Richard Kelly pleaded guilty to 1 count of official misconduct and 1 count of conflict of interest, each a level 6 felony. Richard Kelly was sentenced to 2.5 years, which was ultimately suspended to 1 year of probation. So for all the crap this guy pulled, he got 1 year of probation. Now he is a felon, but that seems like this guy got off way too easy. Ashley Kelly pleaded to one misdemeanor count of conflict of interest. No kidding. And will serve 180 days of probation. In the civil lawsuit, the two were found liable to pay back, get this number, guys, nearly $330,000 they misappropriated from the state through their LLC, Leone, according to previous reports. $330,000 of misuse of taxpayer money, and all the guy got was a year of probation, and the wife got 180 days. Don't do that again. You might get another year of probation. $330,000. It gets worse. The guilty pleas are separate from the charges the Kellys face in Marion County. Ashley Kelly reportedly defrauded the Indiana State Police's pension trust fund of more than $205,000 after she continued to work despite being on disability as a result of an injury on the job as a state trooper in 2014. In the case, Richard Kelly also faces charges of aiding, inducing, or causing fraud. Boy, these two sound like a couple of real winners, don't they? This is the sheriff. The sheriff is the highest ranking elected official in the county. I think I told this before. The only person who can arrest the sheriff is the coroner. The coroner is the only person who can arrest the sheriff. So when you think your coroner election doesn't matter, it does. It does. Richard Kelly was also recently charged with possession of an illegal handgun, a misdemeanor in Hamilton County, and Ashley Kelly lost. This is the best part. Ashley Kelly lost the Republican primary to succeed her husband as the Clinton County sheriff. Think about that. All the crap these people pulled, and she's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'll run for the office. Listen to the level of crap I just laid out there, and they feel so little remorse for it. She's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try to hoodwink the taxpayers. There's a bunch of stupid people out there. They might vote for me again. Unbe-frickin-leavable. Look, we've got to have major reform, guys. We've got to have major reform in the oversight of these sheriffs. Because look at, just in the past couple of years, Jamie Knoll, Tom Kleinhelter, Richard Kelly and his wife. I imagine we're only scratching the surface on this. We've got to have some level, a lot of level of additional oversight because this keeps happening. And it's sort of the same pattern over and over and over again. There is zero reason this should have been allowed to continue. And clearly there's no oversight going on in Clinton County. I mean, this should have been caught. Like, hey, there's $330,000 missing out of the commissary. Can you explain what's going on here? Can you explain where that money went? What are you spending $330,000 on? I want to know. But apparently nobody in the Clinton County government was doing anything with it. And the audacity of these people, they show you who they are, the just total narcissistic behavior pattern where this woman's like, oh, sure, I totally embarrassed myself and my family and pilfered money from the taxpayers. You know what I'll do? I'll run again. No shame. Kleinhelter feels no shame. Knoll, look at him. Clearly no shame whatsoever. These people are rotten to their core, and they're in such positions of power that they clearly feel they can take advantage of the system, and look how long they a lot of times get away from it, get away with it. Something's got to change. It's bad. It's bad news. And by the way, we're not giving up on justice someday being served on Kleinhelter down there in Southwest Indiana. Before we go, The Hill has an interesting article about, I thought of this and I chuckled because it reminded me of how stupid I was in college, of how much college graduates overestimate what they'll be making in the real world. This is interesting. According to The Hill, undergraduates pursuing a bachelor's degree expect to earn roughly $80,000 1 year after graduation. That's about $24,000 more than the average starting salary of $56,153, according to the website Clever Real Estate. 10 years after graduation, the students surveyed expected to make around $145,000 on average, but the average mid-career salary is only $95,521. So somebody's not doing a good job of telling people who go to college what the reasonable expectation is. And I think a lot of that, one, it rests on these universities, but also the kid themselves. And when we say kid, like you're an adult. If you're in college, you're an adult, unless you're like Doogie Howser. But if you're a kid in college, you're an adult. And you got to take some ownership in what do these jobs that I desire, that I can potentially achieve based on the degree that I have, what do they actually pay? How many jobs are available? What are the odds I'm going to get the job? And then what can I reasonably expect to make? Like, that is just crazy that people have that poor of an understanding on what they're going to be making versus the investment they make in college. Yikes. All right, we're going to wrap up a little early. We got a big interview coming up here in a little bit, so we got to get the studio set up. We're still working, like I said, we're still finishing the studio. Hopefully here soon we won't have to move things around every time we do these interviews. Right now we still have to until Ethan gets off his lazy ass and gets here and helps us. Just kidding, Ethan. You've been awesome. Ethan Hatcher, Saturday Night on the Circle, 7 to 9, WIBC Saturday nights. But guys, I want to close by just thanking you guys for a phenomenal week. You've been absolutely amazing. This experiment with 3 hours in our new studio. It's like, new studio, 3 hours. What could possibly go wrong? It's been great, guys. It's been great. You guys have been amazing. God bless you for being with us and spreading the word and helping us get the word out there and just being passionate about good government, being passionate about better government. And so if you guys haven't, go ahead and hit that like button over the weekend. Share the feed. Let people know we're out there. State House Happenings dropped this morning. If you just can't get enough of us, which how could you? State House Happenings, new edition dropped out this morning. And Jim Merritt, Abdul, myself, taking you through 30 minutes, the biggest news of Indiana politics and government. Obviously, we're very focused on, almost all focused on the election this week. So check that out as well. If you're on Apple, if you're on Spotify, we see you. Well, we don't see you, but we know you're there. Give us that 5-star review. Really help us out. You guys have been amazing. I can't thank you enough for everything. I hope you just have a phenomenal weekend. Stay safe. Take care of yourselves. I'm starting to sound like Jerry Springer. Take care of yourselves and each other. Remember, that was the Jerry Springer. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. No, but thank you guys. Have a great weekend. Have an awesome Mother's Day. Thanks to all the moms out there, including mine. If you hadn't endured torture of birthing me, people wouldn't have this show today. You're the best, Mom. For producer Jason, I'm Rob Kendall. You've been watching Rob Kendall Show.